What?
I'm gonna keep it like that. That way we record it. That way we have the better quality.
All right. Well, there we go.
Yeah, we have topics. I made an image to show all the topics, and I don't want to show it because it's not. Don't worry about it. It had creative elements involved, and I don't think the creative elements turned out well.
I think it was good.
Okay, well you're you, and I'm me,
man,
and I made it.
I think
so
you did a good job.
anyway, we have some topics today. We're gonna have topics every time we talk. Some of them are a little weird, but this doesn't have a necessary there's no theme to this. We talk a lot about gaming stuff, but it's not exclusive.
We're
to
gonna
that.
try to branch out and talk about different kind of content. But mostly it's going to be about gaming and things like that nature.
And we have two microphones.
Yes, that's right.
Our audio has upgraded.
We now are in a better position to continue doing this.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
we don't really have a formula to this. We're just going to kind of flow as natural as we can.
We're kind of go with the flow here, you know?
While listing off the topics. So why don't you pick something first and we talk about whatever you want to talk about, buddy. Well, first of all, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm feeling a lot better. I think I'm working on mental health a lot more. Trying to get out there. I mean, you're trying to hook me up with that job, so I mean, trying to get some cash in and get some money flowing in. I eventually want to start my own streaming channel and all, and
nice.
And play my own games. Maybe talk about content that I want to talk about too.
Cool.
But yeah, how have you been? How have things been going for you since
I've been good. I've been streaming pretty much every other day consistently, which is my goal.
I've been getting notifications on that.
You said what?
I've been getting notifications on Discord.
Oh shit, it's working. Wait, you're a part of my Discord? I didn't even know.
I joined like immediately.
Yeah, the Discord needs some work. I'm getting there. Also, hello, Goth. We're going to try to respond to chat as best we can, but of course we're talking directly to one another without playing a game, so
that is correct.
There's a weird disconnect from the virtual part, but
yeah, we're not
used to that. Well, we are. We talk a lot off, but
talk a lot off
not
stream,
while streaming, I guess.
It's the first time we're dedicating, talking.
But yeah,
I think the first thing I want to talk about is piracy in the internet in the modern world.
Okay. So this was a replacement of a topic that you had.
Right, I wanted to talk about modern Japan,
but I don't know shit about Japan.
Right, and that's true, and we don't really know what could actually be there.
I'll just listen, bro. Have fun until game time. All right, cool, sweet. Yeah, we'll be doing game night like usual after this. I'm not sure how long this will go. Maybe like an hour, 2 hours, something like that. Probably the runtime, but we'll just kind of gonna go naturally and see where it
we're kind of just going with the flow. But I think the first thing we should tackle is of course piracy. No, but the thing I'm saying is on the internet, like video games and all that.
Not limited to video games.
I know, but I'm saying we should first tackle that, considering
because we do video games.
Yeah, we do video games.
Yeah.
So I want to put this out there. I have pirated video games.
I think
before.
Everybody has. Yes.
We all have. Yes. Pirating has been a big thing since the 90s of the internet. I think when it first started, it was really popular with LimeWire and stuff like that.
What did LimeWire do?
LimeWire allowed you to get music and shit.
I
downloading Eminem music from when it first got released back in the 2000s.
Well, here's an interesting thing. I never first I've never used LimeWire because I've always just used YouTube. If you download a YouTube MP3 that's a music video or a music and you just put it in your track folder, do you consider that piracy? If you can buy that song somebody else on iTunes?
By the definition, technically yes.
But these
downloading an MP4 of a song on YouTube using a program for it is kind of akin to the same thing. And this is actually going to branch off into another topic of ours. It's kind of like the same thing when people joke, "Oh, just save that as NFT." It's kind of like I feel like it's a good correlation to draw between it.
But you can do that. You can if somebody has an NFT we'll get
we'll get more into that later.
But you could just say these are products of the internet, and I guess what I'm interested in with piracy is there's this. It's interesting to me that when it comes to any form of stealing or taking from a company, you wouldn't steal something from a convenience store, right? Because there's
No.
Do you think the consequences need to be higher for piracy? And why particularly do you think like piracy is more acceptable to most people than going into a convenience store and like stealing a candy bar?
I think
not like that's the worst thing ever.
Internet piracy in general is more kind of like accepted because in like the early Wild West days of the internet, it was very easy to do this. It was it became a core part of internet culture since the MySpace era of the internet. And because of that, I feel like it's entrenched itself as an aspect of internet culture. And even though there's been laws that's been passed to kind of like prevent piracy, companies have gone in and like programmed like cutscenes breaking. They've done their own funny things to prevent piracy. I think people are more acceptable of it because it's just always kind of been there. Whereas convenience stores, they've been around for a very long time, and stealing from a convenience store would not only affect your community, but you would also be depriving a commodity, which, I mean, things have value. I mean, you know, like
right. But that leads into my point is like I feel like part of the reason it's not as like looked at as much, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with or not, is because of there's no physical thing usually. You're not like when you pirate something, you have like digital media, and I think naturally people don't ascribe as much like value to that.
That's true.
I think that's changing, but I think right now like that's kind of the stigma. I think you make good points though in terms of like I think it is partially accepted because it's been a part of internet culture for so long. We've had like these big giant scandals where piracy has been like made super easy. People do it all the time. I think it's also more acceptable because I mean kids don't have money.
They don't.
If you get a PC and you're a kid and you want to get into gaming, you don't have money usually to buy games. You just don't. So like I feel like that's a big push for kids to start pirating shit. I don't know if that's a problem. I don't know if that like super needs to be looked at because as soon as I got a job and I had income, I stopped pirating like pretty much everything. I think the only thing, well, I won't get into the specifics. I think the only thing that I've pirated even somewhat recently is like a program that's like $500 to use. So
my you do bring up a point there. I do think that was a big part of it because we were all kids, and we were introduced to the internet
in different ways,
just starting to get into like it's I guess quote unquote like the first real golden age of the internet, where there's like YouTube was really popular, where gaming was starting to really take hold of like media. I think
it feels like we were in the middle of it. We weren't in the start, but we were at the point where it started to really just rapidly fucking grow.
Yeah.
Like to an insane degree.
And because of that, like think about you and me, right? When we were kids, we wanted to play all these games together, right? Mm-hmm. Some of y'all were able to get your games from money from gifts, but kids don't have a source of income.
Yeah.
Considering that our generation in particular was, I guess, like the most exposed to the internet comparatively.
Sure, I would say. Well, that's besides the modern. Compared to now.
Because now it's everywhere.
Oh yeah, now it's everywhere. Yeah.
But like I think because of that, like pirating is still somewhat okay to me. Like it's because it's been a normal.
I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I find it. I think it's really interesting that we have a different sort of acceptance for piracy than everything else. And I think most people would agree that pirating a video game isn't as bad as like fucking I don't know stealing something.
Well, all right,
from like a convenience store. It doesn't feel as bad
let's consider
to most people.
Pre-internet piracy compared to actual piracy. Because we're drawing that correlation.
Well, you said pre-internet piracy. What do you mean by that specifically?
I mean like
ripping
actual
VHS
piracy.
Tapes or something?
I mean like actual piracy. Like stealing like large commodities.
Of what?
Of anything. Like back during...
You're using piracy in the terms of like, it's like just theft.
Like theft, right? Like theft, or even...
I don't think most people consider that piracy nowadays. They just call it theft.
I know.
Maybe that's the distinction that matters. I don't know.
But I think a bit different correlation for that is that let's go back. Let's go back to like the age of exploration, where boats are everywhere. Pirates are starting to really sprout up in the seas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stealing a whole bunch of gold, food, slaves,
What's
things
called
like
piracy?
That from another ship. That kind of piracy is a big like it's very easy to control if you're doing it right, and it has more like broad implications. It's more physical. Whereas internet piracy,
you're stealing
like,
an actual thing that you can hold.
You're stealing a digital asset, and stealing digital assets is far more easier and far more easy to spread around than boarding a ship and stealing.
So you're saying like it's the physical aspect, it's the ease of doing it, and the fact that it's almost impossible to control on the internet.
Right, because
But do any of these things necessarily make it acceptable?
No.
So what makes it like acceptable? I think the fact that like
it's led to a perception in our society where it is okay to steal these digital assets, because when we were young, and especially when we were like going through the like 2008 recession, things like that, the economy was kind of on those rough times. We did these things to have a source of entertainment and something to distract ourselves from when we were going through like our high school and middle school phases. And because of that, it made it an okay thing. We didn't really think too much about it. Why do we pirate games? Well, we don't have money. And like you said, now that you have a job and you have a flow of income,
I don't pirate things. Yeah.
You don't pirate things, except for like the program which shall not be named. Which is,
you can name it. I don't care.
Which is like a few $100. But I mean.
Yeah. I mean. I agree with most of the things that you're saying. I just wonder like how different it's going to be as well, like in the future. Like, is this going to be something that's cracked down on harder, do you think? Or do you think most companies and like governments have agreed to not give a shit? Or not agree. Wait, hang on. Let me rephrase that. That was really fucking stupid framing. Hang on. I mean, do you think like police institutions or whatever have like agreed to be like you're not gonna get somebody showing up at your door and be like, we have a warrant for your arrest, you pirated a video game. You like this doesn't happen.
Another here's one thing we should discuss, which before we get into this part of piracy and then crime on the internet in general. I think like, how do I phrase this? Our older siblings and like this older sibling in general, they were around during like the beginning of the internet,
right?
Like when AOL and MySpace, when those kind of things were what you had, when there was dial-up, when you had to like start it up, go make a sandwich, take a shower, walk your dog, come back, and maybe it's up. They were in like the Wild West days.
Right.
Then we came in at an age where dial-up was out the window and the cable was still a popular thing people used. TV companies were still very popular. That's where a lot of shows were at. And YouTube was in its infancy. And now, the generation coming up after us, they're growing up in a world where internet security in general, for not just children but for other people, are becoming a major priority, because it has become extremely easy to steal someone's identity and get their bank accounts, because we've over-connected ourselves to the internet. It has been a blessing and it has been a curse, because as much as it has connected us together, allowing us to talk from continents away, it's created a double-edged sword where like all of our information is there on the internet. It's easy,
right? I think we have better internet security than we did before, and I think we are pushing towards better internet security. I still think in general though, like, the internet is a much more like lax place when it comes to that type of stuff, rather than like TV or like fucking any other place. Why do you think that is? Why do you think like when the intercept was being when the internet was like this thing in its infancy and it was being brought up, how did it become something that was just not regulated as much? How did it slip under the radar from like
because similar to how we're getting this space is like a new frontier, the internet is a completely different kind of frontier. It's a completely entirely different world of doing things. Like even the original use of the internet. The original use of the internet was for military purposes to communicate with bases from long-term distances. They publicized that, and then companies like Microsoft and Apple, they pioneered internet with the creation of operating systems to better control computers. And because of this, like, because these were the first companies, it's kind of like what we're going to get into later. SpaceX is one of the first companies that really push into space. That's a whole new frontier. We're still in a point of the internet where we're still not seeing the internet come to its final phase.
I don't think you can compare like a media like platform to space.
I'm saying in terms of like its effects. And
yeah,
like,
but
in like the atmosphere.
You say the Wild West in space, because we are like more developed on Earth, I feel like is going to be very different than like the Wild West on like I don't know, on Earth itself when we were still being brought up. We're a much more developed people.
I am what I'm trying to say though in relation to the internet, why I was making the analogy is because we're still at a point in the internet where it's not even in its final phase yet. The internet is still
not my final form.
Well,
that's the nature of the internet. I don't think it will ever be.
The internet is still evolving, and we still don't know how to properly regulate this.
I guess
we're humans are very social beings.
I don't understand. Like, I feel like we had this like thing with TV and TV stations that I feel like. This is a really dumb comparison, but just hear me out, okay?
Go ahead.
Let's say, we developed into better humans over time, right? We like know how to treat each other better. We're just, I would say we're overall just much better people, usually. Yes, but usually we're much better people. Comparing that to something like I feel like if you look at something like TV, like a media platform, there might have been all this shit in the beginning where it's like just the crazy Wild West where people are doing their own like channels that's like straight up porn or some shit. I don't know. But we've gotten to a point where we developed and we got rid of that. Why do you think like none of those things came into play when the internet was being established, I guess?
Because the thing
not just because of its like differences. Obviously it's very different, but like what particularly made the regulation like not as intense?
This is a good thing and a bad thing, but the issue lies...
I think it's a great thing. I love that the internet... Yes, I agree it can be a bad thing, but I love that the internet is unregulated.
But the reason why is because, like your example, TV stations, that is a group of few who are regulating it, right? Mm-hmm. The internet puts power in the hands of everyone. And because of that, everyone, like every single person, can start their own channel, they can make their own website, they can do all these things. And in the beginning of the internet, we don't really have, we didn't really have any regulations because everyone could be doing anything. And it's only gotten
It's impossible to regulate.
It's only gotten more easier to access the internet over time. I mean, look.
Right.
This. We had computers.
This.
And now we have a computer in our hands that can access
Holy
the internet
moly!
Everywhere.
Those are some bazongas.
I mean, like, think about it. Think about it.
Yeah.
We in such a short time frame, we went from having like computers that would fill the size of this room to a computer that can fit in your pocket, and that was in like maybe like a 70-year time frame.
So
human culture has had thousands of years to develop alongside technology.
Do you think...
Hold on a second. I'm sorry. We're at a point where technology is progressing at an excessive rate.
Sure.
And we aren't really able to catch up with the pace of technology is like advancing. And because of that, it's created a lot of issues with the internet. Like as we see when we talk about piracy, internet scams, people getting your personal information.
Yeah.
you know, that, like it's becoming an issue.
Your point is basically like it just started like it got to a point where it was going too fast. Everybody had access to it. Everybody was using it. Everybody was making their own channels, and it became impossible to regulate. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, nah, it became like ironically like a virus. Everyone had it. Everyone used it, and they're all doing their own thing.
Do you think if like the FCC or whatever the fuck could go back and regulate it, do you think that's something that they would want to do, or that they would do?
For security reasons, and to make the internet a much safer place from people like child predators who try to take advantage of it, I think that if any organization could go back and make regulations, they would. Because the internet just went out of control when it was first introduced.
I think now though we're seeing better regulation. I think now, for the good things, sometimes the bad things that maybe don't need to be as regulated.
Yes, regulation is a double-edged sword, because when the internet has given people as much freedom as it has given, like I'd say the internet gives you more freedom than even we here in America have.
What you would say, even in like real life, you have less.
Even like on a social level in America, the internet has given many different countries a lot of freedom, and for a long time, that has led to a lot of like the Silk Road on the dark web, where drugs are trafficked everywhere. Like the internet made drug trafficking and even human trafficking far easier to hide, to cover up, and to even operate, to where it's like going on Amazon.
Oh God,
it's that bad. Like,
hey, let me go on Amazon. Let me buy a human real quick. Get him shipped to my house.
I mean, what? Because of the fact there was like almost no regulation.
Because sorry.
Because there was almost no regulation. It's
so
led to
what aspects of the internet would you like to see more regulated, and what aspects would you like to see less?
I would personally like to see like more changes to make obtaining personal information a lot harder.
Specifically,
for malicious individuals.
In what way? Like, well, not necessarily what way, but like, what do you feel like makes it so easy to get other people's information? Well, I know the answer is obvious. I'm just, trying to set this up for you.
Yes.
And how would you regulate it, and what would you change about that to sort of set it up in a way that, nothing harmful is being done?
The issue... Well, I mean, Asterion kind of...
IP logging? True.
I mean, an issue is that, like, for something like Facebook, where you can personally message people, it is very difficult for a website to monitor, like, millions of different chat logs going on to figure out what's having happened.
Right. So we don't... I think neither of us expect people or want people to necessarily... Do you want people monitoring your chat logs?
No, I don't think anyone wants that.
Yeah, I don't... yeah. But what was your point?
The thing is, no one wants that, right?
Yeah.
But if it's done and done right, it can like stop many travesties from happening.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
That's the big double-edged thing.
But I don't think anybody's. Yeah. Exactly. Nobody's willing to. I think it's fucked up, but in a way, we're all willing to sacrifice that.
It's secured. It's a classic security versus freedom argument. Would you give up all your freedom to live a safe, secure life where you can possibly
No, because nobody would be happy.
Exactly. That's why we need to find a nice balancing point. And that's the trouble. We can't. It's hard
probably
to
a lot
find
of.
that.
Wait, there's probably a bot that secretly watches conversations. Do you think that? Do you think websites have bots that watch you?
That's a whole different topic. That's like internet privacy invasion. Which
I personally, okay. This is like the dumbest fucking argument. How would I regulate it?
Yeah. What would you do to try to make the internet a much?
I think I'm the wrong person to ask because I genuinely, I don't necessarily give a fuck if companies have like my data and shit. I don't care if they necessarily see my chat logs either. I don't really say anything or do anything that's like super fucking weird. And not that I think you have to feel like you want your shit private. I get it. People want their stuff private. I don't know I mean, how do you, I don't know if you can. We have laws in place to help protect that. Do you want to put more in place? I guess. I think that's the only way you can.
Yeah, because
if there was a way to prevent companies from taking our data and selling it, just do that. I don't know. Just make it illegal to sell people's personal data, right?
The issue if that gets into a whole different topic.
You could regulate that aspect, couldn't you? Don't you think you could make a law like that?
It would be astronomically challenging, but yes.
It would. I'm not saying it'd be easy. I'm just saying, don't you think that is already illegal?
Yeah.
In some aspects, they can sell your data. They just can't sell certain types of data, and they can't do it to people under a certain age.
They sell a certain type. They can't sell like where you live and all that kind of stuff. However, they can monitor what you click on.
Exactly.
And they can monitor what you watch.
They know what websites you go to. They know, like, your ISP knows all this shit, and they can sell it to other companies so they can better advertise to you, basically. So, selling phone numbers is still the hotness. You can sell phone numbers? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
They can sell stuff related to, like, marketing. Yeah, exactly. I guess the question is, do you have an issue with that? Because for me personally, if they are selling me shit, the question is there somebody personally looking at the shit that I'm looking at, right? Or is it a bot? Because if it's a bot, why do I fucking care?
It's more unlikely a bot. Just think about it. Like the people on YouTube, most of the time, they don't have like hundreds and thousands of people in their offices sitting down and watching your videos to make sure you're not, talking about blowing up the Pentagon or something. They're not monitoring that. A bot monitors that, and they look for keywords.
Right.
And that's what happens. And sometimes the bots, they misread things. Like, AI is not perfect yet.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be a while before AI gets to a good state. I feel like we're close, but we're not close enough.
Well, isn't that the biggest complaint that people have about the YouTube bots is they're flagging shit that's not even real.
Exactly. And and the thing is that because of that, they're also avoiding and not even catching the things that is real.
Sometimes I'll physically speak something, and like 3 minutes later, YouTube or Facebook will show me shit related to that. I've had that happen. Do you think that's coincidence, or do you think it works that fast? Because I don't know how it works. I don't know how quick it is.
Think about it. Think about it this way. Speaking something, right?
Uh-huh.
You spend all your time on the internet. You click on these certain videos.
Mm-hmm.
It formulates a pattern in your mind. You're not actually randomly clicking on these things. You click on things that catch your interest.
Yeah.
And that drive you. And so, when you happen to say something or talk about something that you like, YouTube or Google, they already know what you like because you've been clicking on the things you like consistently, and therefore they try to tailor their internet experience to you. They try to personalize it.
I feel like
I think that's a good thing. I think that's a pretty cool
I think that can be a good thing. I think I can see where it might get a little too intrusive, but personally, it depends on what they're doing with it. If they're advertising to me, I personally don't really care too much. If it's a bot looking at what I'm looking at, I don't care. I think if it's another person looking at what I'm looking at, there's a feeling of like judgment there. And it's like, is a dude just looking at a computer with his homies being like, haha, this guy likes fucking... David likes water sports.
I do not.
I'm not trying to say... I'm just saying, your internet history will show if that's the case.
I don't think that people are actually sitting there looking at it. I just think that... And on the top...
I think most people are concerned about data, not actually like people getting laughed at. I think that's a pretty small issue. Or part of it.
I think that companies tailorizing your internet experience to you can be a good thing, but at the same time, I think it's a bad thing, is it prevents you from learning. It prevents you from learning new ideas, and like, let's say that you're a genuinely kind of like racist dude, right?
Yeah.
And you have like very like bad viewpoints.
It's just gonna keep shoveling that type of content into your mind. Exactly.
And you can never see like counter arguments to change your opinion.
I realized how extreme that can be when I stumbled upon some like Twitch and YouTube streamers that I've never fucking heard of in my life and have insane like numbers attached, like viewers that are just unheard of. Like I stumbled across a guy with like 60,000 viewers, and I was like, I've never heard of this guy in my entire life. Nobody's ever talked to him, and I'm pretty active in this community. Same thing happened on like YouTube. You find YouTubers all the time. Well, that's more because there's just a shit ton of them. But you would think the ones that are as popular as they are with that insane amount of subscribers, you would be like, oh, well, fucking, you know, sus Dave. You probably clipped your water sports thing.
Oh my god.
You would think that you would have an idea of like at least hear their names or something, but I guess not. If you're as active, you know what I mean? Here's
the thing. Going on the thing where you are naturally gravitate towards content that you like, right?
Yeah.
You gravitate towards people who share similar viewpoints to you. They might not be on point, but you surround yourself on the internet with people who have similar views to you. They agree with you and they validate your thoughts. And
Echo chamber.
Like they never challenge your viewpoints. And because people get into this trap where they're constantly having like their viewpoints validated, it creates a system in their mind where it has become normalized and accepted to them, and they shut off any counter arguments.
Yeah, it's crazy too because people love fucking conflict on the internet, and I feel like if they actually looked and watched what other people were saying, they'd have plenty of ammo there. But they end up finding the way that they find these things to get mad at is like their favorite YouTuber or something will post that video up talking about that thing, and then they'll get mad at it in response.
Saying that word.
Exactly. But no, I agree with everything you're saying.
You know what this kind of ties into?
What?
This kind of also ties into cancel culture. Because...
Well, that's a whole nother topic if you want to get into that.
I know it's a whole nother topic, but this also kind of ties into that. Mm-hmm. Because people surround themselves with people who think like them and don't get any kind of challenging viewpoints, this...
Fuck Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, like Twitter. Like, it creates a kind of like tribalistic mentality of people. Dude. Where it's an us versus them mentality. And because of cancel culture, and because it has entrenched itself where people can lose their careers over saying the wrong word, it has become a almost radicalized movement to where it can do just as much damage as the people they're trying to, like the genuine people they're trying to save.
I heard some stupid shit from some really popular YouTubers that I cannot believe they said this. Maybe what I'm saying is wrong, but I don't want to call anybody out, but there were two like big YouTubers that are like commentary YouTubers. Yeah, Twitter fucking sucks. I actually can't believe how bad it is and how accurate people... I thought Twitter was like this place... I was like, it's not nearly as bad as people say it is if you like... Unless you're looking for this shit. No, it's everywhere. It's crazy. Twitter is fucking nuts.
The issue is it's not just Twitter. Twitter is just the meme.
Right. But well, there's Reddit too and everything people talk about. Anyway, I don't know about Reddit. I haven't been on there. But, fuck, what was I saying? Do you remember what I was talking about?
Two big YouTubers
who
said a stupid thing.
There were two big YouTubers that said, like, if somebody comes out with an allegation, you should automatically believe them because they have no reason to lie. Is that just not the dumbest shit to anybody else? Of course they have reason to lie. There's so many, like... You know what I'm saying, right?
There are lots of cases where
somebody will just say some shit because they want attention, or like it happens over and over again. I can't believe this.
Like the whole Nairo stuff.
Well, okay, there's some background shit to that. We won't get into that right now. Well, maybe that's another subject for a different thing.
All right.
Clout chasing. Hungry Box crab. This happened a while ago. Someone threw a crab at Hungry Box and Twitter like exploded. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's the dumbest like. It made me so mad because it's YouTubers that people really look up to and respect, and I know they're fucking repeating this shit. And they're anti-Twitter. They fucking hate Twitter. And then they said this shit. That's such a Twitter idea. Like, you can't just believe... People have so much incentive. It's unbelievable. That's why random kids... Like, there's young people on the internet, too. Young kids just do and say shit all the fucking time for no reason.
Remember how,
or because they want attention, or because, like, they know they'll get popularity, or some people legitimately just want to see a content creator, like, get canceled. It can be that simple sometimes. It really can. I don't know why that's so hard for people to believe.
It
makes me feel like they haven't been on the internet enough. And it's crazy because I know that these YouTubers have been on longer than I have. So it's like, how the fuck do you not know this?
I feel like the big reason why things are like that is because for a long time, a lot of people were unable, let's talk about the real shit, right? A lot of people, like, I'm not talking about like the allegations, no, I'm talking about like some of the real shit before the whole cancel culture movement came out about, right?
Right.
There was a lot of people have had genuinely bad things happen to them, and they have not, and no one has actually heard them, and because that has happened, it has what's the word? It has oversaturated a kind of like defensive mentality for people who are trying to genuinely put these issues to light, but because that has been oversaturated and radicalized, they're seeing every red flag.
The problem I have with it is it goes against like something we use in our fucking legal system: innocent until proven guilty. Like, you don't just immediately believe somebody. We don't do that for, like, anything. That's, like, legally how... Okay, people, maybe, that's a different story. But you shouldn't.
Right.
The idea is you shouldn't. You might have your own ideas, but, like, as long as you're telling yourself, okay, well, I don't know for sure, you're at least, like, better than a lot of the people on Twitter. And, like, when you perpetuate, like, that idea of, like, just believe somebody else, I understand that it can be traumatic for the person when you say you don't believe them. But you don't have to say that. You don't have to say anything. You're online. You have an option. You don't have to tell this person that they're incorrect if you don't know. Just stay out of it until you hear more information. I hate the argument of like you shouldn't say you don't believe them because it's traumatic. You don't have to say you don't believe them.
I just think the psychology behind it is that, like as I said, a lot of things have gone under the radar. And because
I'm not denying that.
A lot of things have gone under the radar.
People have done some really fucked shit, and some of them are YouTubers. I'm not going to deny that.
Because it's gone under the radar for so long, a lot of people feel like, okay, well, who the fuck can I trust? Who the fuck can I look at?
You shouldn't let that like fucking make your mind descend into like hysteria and just believe whatever the fuck.
Yes,
it's insane.
I know, but when people are so interconnected about how the internet is like that, and the internet has become almost a vital social part of our society. It is an essential organ to the way we function now. I
wouldn't use that language, but okay.
I'm saying that.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I agree.
I'm saying that, and because of that, lives have been changed for the better on the internet. People have found people who care about them and love on them, and when people see so many travesties happening over and over and over again, it creates a kind of radicalized mentality.
Don't you think an equal tragedy? Don't you think an equal tragedy is some poor guy losing his job because some random dumb fuck on the internet wanted to?
Of course,
like, attention?
I am not defending this mentality. I don't think it's right at all. I think innocent until proven guilty. I firmly believe in that.
Don't take sides until I have info on both. You have to you. Sometimes there isn't info on both, and that really sucks. It's not like always that clear, but you just can't immediately believe somebody like because they say something. Give some evidence. Like it's hard. It's obviously not always easy to do that if you like have been affected by something like this. Sometimes there literally is just no evidence, and you're fucked, and that sucks. But like, you should just never expect people to flat out believe you. I don't know why that's an expectation. And secondly, like, if you are the person, which a lot of people are, the one looking at it from an external like position, why would you just throw all your faith in one person? You're setting yourself up to be like fucked in some cases. Anyway, the funny thing is it's only Americans that act like that on the internet. The other countries only get upset if they're legit something bad. I don't know about that. I can't speak to that. I live in America, but I can't speak to that.
I have seen like people from other countries making some pretty stupid arguments, just as stupid as the arguments being made in America. I don't think it's an American thing. I just think it's a human thing. I think it's an issue of all of us. We're all wired a very similar way.
I absolutely did the same shit I'm talking about when I was younger, okay? I'm guilty of it, but when you grow up, you have to like, when there's these like fucking 30-year-old YouTubers that have massive followings talking about this shit and like speaking to a younger generation, I don't feel like it's that controversial to say that I expect like a little bit more. Just like a little bit more than just saying, just believe this person. What the fuck is that?
Let's kind of be honest here.
And nobody said anything. Nobody, like, they got no backlash for that. It's like, what the fuck?
Because
it's so scary.
Because of the fact that these popular YouTubers have been around for like since we were kids.
I know. People trust them. I get it.
And I feel like because of that, I feel like these people should take a little bit more responsibility in what they talk about. So that way, when they're talking to the younger generations that are coming up, they don't put shit in their mind that will lead them on a bad path.
Right.
Like, I get it. You need to get money, but I'm gonna actually use a modern term. Influencers. Big influencers have been around. Like I'm not. I he hasn't done anything wrong. I'm just gonna use him as an example because he's the biggest example on YouTube. PewDiePie.
PewDiePie's done nothing wrong?
No.
Are you sure about that?
PewDiePie and how he acts and what he says, right? He managed himself pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree. Most of the time.
People who have that much outreach to not just people in the country, but people across the planet, they have a responsibility to not steer people down a dark path of thinking. I understand if you put yourself in a creator's like point of view. A lot of creators used to respond in a way that was like, I don't need to take responsibility. This is my content. I think inherently it doesn't matter if you don't want to or not. There is responsibility put on you, and it's there no matter what, like intrinsically, and you can't get rid of it. Especially when you get to
and that's scary as fuck. But like, I don't know how you can just deny that when you have that many people watching.
Like,
I fucking have none.
I personally get it.
What?
I personally get it for like a long time. Like if we're just doing our thing, right?
I understand where
if we're doing our thing, if we enjoy
annoyance
our thing,
comes from,
and we get more popular, and it's seemingly we have to kind of like slightly change our thing that we've come to love and adore. Like content creators, their content, that's like their child to them. They put a lot of time and effort nurturing it. And when flaws are pointed out and they have to change.
By the way, I think everybody should be able to speak in what they believe in.
Yes, of course. But you know what I'm saying here, right?
Right, but you have to be responsible, and you're gonna be held like accountable for the shit that you say. Like it's just inevitable.
Yeah, I agree. I think it comes also down to an individualistic viewpoint, where individuals need to support people who don't have the viewpoints they preach against, and they need to support the people who are actually trying to do.
You don't even have to like. You have to support them at the most basic level. You don't even have to support them. You just listen to what they say.
I'm saying support the best, supported like the.
Right, I know what you mean. I'm just saying. I'm clarifying, I guess. Also, we should probably move on. We've been on this for like almost an hour now, and we have like how many other topics? Quite a bit.
Considering we have gone from internet piracy, all that. What do you want?
I would say NFTs, right? That leads kind of naturally from this. Specifically, NFTs becoming involved. We can talk a bit NFTs in general, but more specifically about how they're becoming. Companies want to involve them more in gaming.
I have a personal opinion on NFTs.
Let me hear.
I think the initial concept of NFTs, of like artwork being utilized as a currency, like a pseudocurrency, is a very interesting idea. And there have been some actual like works of art that I think are beautiful that are NFTs that people have put time and effort in that I think are personally worth the money. But
what like fucking 5K?
I mean like I put
Maybe if you're rich, I don't think anybody's spending like
the example that I'm putting towards, right? Is like, in my opinion, it kind of looks like a Renaissance kind of like art. It kind of looks like people like took time and effort slowly, doing that.
I don't equate Renaissance art to like necessarily good art.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that like
I'm gonna be honest.
The concept is a cool concept, but I think the way it's been handled is a dumpster fire.
I think art, in many ways, this is not just NFTs, but in general, a lot of the value can also come from how it culturally impacts things, not just necessarily the art itself. Yeah, I have drawn for a very long time in high school. I drew before high school. I don't do it as much anymore, but I've never drawn or painted or like, and I've worked for hours sometimes on shit. I've never done anything that I would ever consider to be like at the ridiculous prices that NFTs are.
Yes,
never.
I agree.
I'm not the best artist, or I ain't gonna claim that.
I agree that it's outrageous.
Holy fuck!
I'm just saying that like the idea of like works of art like that being a kind of pseudocurrency that people exchange. I think it's a very like interesting idea for a currency, because I feel like it was handled the right way. It would encourage people to create more content and more art, and from that like we can.
Look, I'm trying to say, right? I'm in full support of like art communities. I think they should be able to, charge decent prices for what they make. I just don't. I'm gonna be the boomer. Okay, I don't fucking get NFTs in the way they are currently most commonly used. I do not fucking understand. I don't at all. I understand, like, I get it. It's like I don't even want to say stock thing. That makes me sound like an idiot. It's like a investment, with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. I don't see any value. I don't get it. With like stocks, you're like owning like. You have something there. You have something. You get a return. NFTs. You get like a digital picture of something. I don't understand. Just an opportunity to make money from nothing, mostly.
It's a cash grab thing. I mean, like,
I just don't get it. I literally don't. I try to. I know NFTs in general. The idea of them are not necessarily harmful, but in the way that they are currently very commonly being used, seems very sketchy.
The concept, I think, is something that is an interesting one that could function. I just do not think the way that it is working is good at all. I think
that's what commercial NFTs are going to be. Okay, well, let's get into the specifics of it. Let's add the gaming portion. There have been several companies recently that have announced they are interested in involving NFTs in their games. Most popularly, Square Enix talking about potentially putting NFTs in Final Fantasy XIV. What are your thoughts? Do you think there's any positive way that these companies will use this? Not that they can, but will.
Square Enix, why?
It's not just Square. There's a few others.
I know, but Square Enix was supposed to be one of the good ones.
What are you talking about? Square has done some shit, okay? Every gaming company under the sun,
I know,
has a history.
But
I play it and I don't see how that would be valuable to me as a player. That's what I mean. The way I see it, well, that's the thing. They're arguing, the way that these companies are arguing is that they can implement NFTs. They don't want people to get upset by hearing this news because they can implement these NFTs in a way that benefits the player. I don't believe that for a second.
Aren't? Correct me if I'm wrong, because it's this from a game that you play a lot.
You're gonna bring up TF2?
Yeah, aren't the hats just kind of a similar concept
to NFTs?
You pay money for them and then you can resell them on the Steam store for money. Isn't that pretty much the same thing? What intrinsic value do these hats have other than
you can wear them?
They look good. They look funny.
Well, first of all, I fucking hate the economy in TF2. Don't talk to me. Don't try to use that as a haha gotcha. Okay?
I'm not using it as a gotcha. I don't support NFTs. Really.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm fucking with you. What's the difference between an NFT and microchip? Well, I guess the difference. Getting like getting digital art outside of like a game, I think is a much different thing between getting like a cosmetic item within a game that has its own community attached to it. Because everybody in the sun is trying to do NFTs right now, right? What if you really like the art of an NFT and you want to spend some money on an NFT? Maybe they're not even that expensive, right?
There's some art. Some that are like 92 cents.
You buy an NFT.
Some were dirt cheap.
You buy an NFT and you're interested not only in the art, but the investment aspect of it. You're never going to fucking sell that art to anybody that also doesn't care about that one specific NFT. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you're not getting any value out of that. And TF2, there's a whole economy. Like Bill's hats. This is fucking some nerd shit, okay? I used to play this game all the time. I have too many hours in it. So if I use some weird terms, okay, just go with the flow.
I was never on.
There's like fucking reclaimed metal that has an intrinsic value put on it, not just by the community, but even in some ways by Valve. That they use to like, they formulate like a economy and shit. I don't necessarily like that. I don't agree with it. I don't see much like value necessarily in it outside of like the people who are super into that specific aspect of the game. I don't think people who play the game mostly for its gameplay really give that much of a shit about like the hats and stuff. So outside of that, when it's not attached to another thing that is automatically on its own going to build a community, you're not. The big ones have come. Like we have Bitcoin, we have like what, Ethereum? Is that different? I don't know.
They're cryptocurrencies.
They're both different, right?
They're both different cryptocurrencies.
Is cryptocurrencies not like connected to NFTs?
Yeah, cryptocurrency is a type of currency.
But they're usually sold for crypto. NFTs, right?
Some, yes. Typically BTC, Bitcoin. Sometimes they're sold for Ethereum. Sometimes they're sold for Doge. Or Shiba Inu, which are the new
people
ones
use
that
Doge still?
It's coming up still. I know, like, I think a country has made Bitcoin its official currency. Can't recall what country top of my head. I remember seeing it in the bathroom.
How do you think, even if you were to make a argument that TF2's hats are similar in terms of like as a cosmetic item in terms of like an NFT, how does that benefit a player? Because an NFT is just non-fungible token. Because it's not... NFTs are also different in the fact that each NFT is unique, right?
Yes.
Right. So each Bill's hat in TF2 isn't unique. Unless you have like a number attached to it. Like this is the one that... This is this number. Some weapons you can make. And if you make them early enough, you get a number attached to it.
Yes.
That, I would say, equates better to like an NFT. And that does have more value in the space of like TF2. But...
I think if video game companies incorporate NFTs, I think a smart way to do it would be similar to what TF2 did. Make it a part of
how does that benefit players though?
Here's
does tacking an economy onto... I feel like this is a different subject entirely. I was going to say, does tacking an economy benefit a player? But I guess even in that sense, you could argue yes. But even if you could, it's not the same as just adding TF2s. Because a lot of games do have economies.
To be fair, people have bought like $100 games by trading up TF2 hats. So, it's not... you're not going to be able to like buy a whole bunch of games on it. I know.
That's why I didn't go further to this. Those aren't NFTs, right?
I'm saying,
right. You could argue
they could be done a similar way.
In what way?
To where like there's a set number of items, right?
Sure.
And you have, let's say that like there's like this, right? This
okay.
right here. For everyone who doesn't know, I'm holding up the ultimate case. You're the only one who has this, right?
Right.
This is the only one of this kind. There's sub variations of it. But this is the one that you have.
Right.
If you for a game, if you were to utilize a similar system to what was used the hats, right? Like it's a collectible for people who are players who are into the game franchise, who can trade it amongst each other for, let's say, like credits, so that way you could buy games on like a game store. It's essentially their thing for like a collector.
I feel like this example can only be used for the Steam store. I don't know of any other store you could possibly do what you can do for like Steam. There's no community market on like the Epic store. Oh, someone's singing a different tune, huh? Anyway, I'm just kidding. Let's not get into that.
Let's not get into that.
Okay. Now that you think there's a way that it can benefit a player, which I would say I disagree with, do you think a company will do this in the best faith way that they could possibly do it to ensure that this is, something a player really wants, and they're getting value out of?
Absolutely not.
So you agree it can be done, but you don't think they'll do it?
I think it's possible, but companies' major goal is to make money.
I don't think it's necessarily impossible.
The only ones they give a shit about the franchises, the developers of the games.
I think everybody hates microtransactions in games. I would say even for like cosmetic stuff, it's annoying.
Because here's the thing: when a company puts a microtransaction in a game, they make it an intrinsic part of the game. Like pay to win games. They make microtransactions an intrinsic part of the game where you have to like if you don't do this, you're just gonna be behind everyone else.
No, that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just cosmetics.
I'm saying though.
But I would argue that is even annoying as fuck.
I mean, purely cosmetic shit. If it has no impact on the gameplay at all. To where literally it's just there, hey, if you want this.
I think you can argue that being able to dress up in games is something that like that's a good experience for like players. If you lock that behind a paywall, then it's kind of like, well, shit. I mean, it's not going to ruin the game necessarily, but it's an aspect, a cool aspect of the game that you're locking behind a paywall. That's, I guess, what I would argue.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not as abhorrent, I would say. What the fuck? What is? You have a twitch? What's going on? What was that?
I almost hit you there, buddy.
Why? What the fuck? You made me lose my train of thought because you just had a spasm in front of me. Jesus. Yeah, I would argue that is also kind of like, it's not as bad, obviously, as like doing pay to win stuff. That's annoying, even more annoying, to the point where I wouldn't even touch a game like that. Pokemon Unite.
So you do not think that NFTs would improve a gameplay's experience?
I don't think there's a single company with the way that the
gaming
gaming industry is that would ever implement it in a game that is like in a way that purely benefits, maybe not purely, but benefits players in a way that would significantly change a game to the point where you feel like you would need to get them involved. I feel like there's no point. Like, why? You know what I mean?
I mean, on the topic of
Square's not gonna make NFTs in Final Fantasy 14 like this crazy like thing that players need to have, or like adds so much value to the game in this like significant way. I just don't think that'll ever happen personally. But
I mean, no one likes paying for DLC. I mean, a lot of people want to pay. A lot of people aren't gonna like paying.
I would say DLC's different. If you're getting content post launch, you know, that somebody is working on post-launch from a game, I don't think if that content's like significant enough, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for more money for it. Now, I think there's companies that will finish that extra content and exclusively like put it aside for DLC. That's a little like, okay, why wouldn't you just put it in the normal game? Like, especially if it doesn't add that much more value to it. Atlas is very guilty of this. I love Atlas, but really they're very guilty of this.
Bethesda is extremely guilty of this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's less annoying when it's a cosmetic. It's more annoying when it's like, let's say there's a certain Pokemon you really like in your favorite Pokemon game, and on launch, you could have that Pokemon, but you have to pay an extra $5 for that Pokemon after you've already paid $60 for the game. Oh, but there's another Pokemon too. There's like 3 Pokemon in total. You have to pay $15.
Yeah, I don't.
If you want these Pokemon,
I don't think that would improve Pokemon at all. Speaking of which,
nice segue. Next topic. This is actually David's topic, not mine. I don't want to be accused of this.
How would you improve Pokemon, Zach? I don't know how I would.
It's funny you would ask, David. I actually think they did a really great job improving Pokemon with Arceus. It's not perfect, but I think they did a great job. How would I improve Pokemon? Stop making shitty, boring games. Mic drop. Okay, next up. No. I don't know. It's just slow as fuck. The franchise doesn't feel like it's grown up with its fan base at all. And I understand that a lot of kids still play it, but like, you can't deny how many like older people still play the games that they played as a kid.
All right, so
they want to experience that franchise still.
Do you want to know how I think Pokemon could be improved?
How?
All right, so some of the things that Arceus did, I agree with. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's my thing. My ideal Pokemon game set in the Pokemon universe, right?
Oh boy, here we go.
Is for one, totally open world.
Okay.
Totally open world. Maybe they have some loading screens.
What do you mean by totally? Like Breath of the Wild open world?
Breath of the Wild open world. I think that Pokemon should engage with the environment based on their type and do different things that can allow you to approach different situations.
That was my foot on the chair, by the way.
Like different situations creatively, right?
Yeah.
I think that we should scrap the turn-based system altogether. No more turn-based. Instead, I feel like...
No more turn-based. Ooh, here we go.
I feel like... Let's put this concept in, right? This is a big concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that your main character does like something akin to Heart Gold or like Ash, right? Your first Pokemon, right, in your party is always out with you, and let's say that like depending on what it is, it can help you. Like if you have a Pokemon that walks on all fours and is large enough to support you, maybe you can ride your Pokemon to actually move faster.
Right.
Maybe your Pokemon can climb walls. You can hold on to your Pokemon.
Right, you want to interact
climb walls
with them and do cool things.
Right.
What would you replace the turn-based combat with?
I think rather than having a turn-based combat,
how would you do not turn-based combat in a game like Pokemon?
Having an open, dynamic battle system. I'm gonna even use Breath of the Wild as an example in this. Yeah, but how would you fight with the Pokemon? Like, would you control the Pokemon directly? How would you, like, you see what I'm saying? I think Arceus was a missed opportunity for this. I think that you should move around with your Pokemon, right? And you should still control your Pokemon on what you tell them to do, right? Right. But I think rather than having take your turn kind of thing, right? I think you should have simultaneous turns, to where your Pokemon will have to be able, you and your Pokemon will have to like direct them to dodge like oncoming attacks, and you'll also have to like be like, okay, how am I going to attack? How am I going to attack this wild Pokemon? How am I going to fight this trainer? You can still keep the aspect of you use one Pokemon at a time, right? Okay. But you utilize your Pokemon in a dynamic open system, to where like to where like for Breath of the Wild, where when Link is like swinging his sword and shit, right? You can have certain moves attached to your Pokemon. You can have like a base attack attached to your Pokemon, and the moves are special. They do more damage, and they affect the environment.
How would you control that? Is what I'm asking. How would you control that? Because the idea, I think, that Nintendo went for, I can't speak to them, but it seems like the reason there's trainers for Pokemon is to give you a reason for the turn-based system, right? Because you're telling them what to do. How would you transfer Pokemon? How would you control a Pokemon game that isn't turn-based in terms of battles?
I would say similar to the control scheme of Kingdom Hearts, for an example.
You would do button combos? Would you control the Pokemon themselves,
though? Not total button combos.
In battle?
In battle, I would say yes.
You would control the Pokemon themselves?
You would control the Pokemon and just be the trainer directing the Pokemon.
Okay.
But I feel like that's one concept. You would no more turns. Pokemon are just duking it out.
Bruh, imagine a Pokemon game with you get into a battle, you throw out your Pokemon, and it's just Pokken Tournament.
Oh, bro.
You're just fighting one-on-one, 1v1 fighting game style.
You're fighting one-on-one. And fine, let's incorporate some fighting game aspects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe to do some certain moves, you need to do combos. So that way,
Pokken.
You have an incentivization to learn have a fleshed out kind of fighting system, rather than just being okay. So I gotta use this move because this move is stronger, and I gotta use this type because that type is weak to this type. Maybe instead of having that system, you could still keep it in some way, and it could still work, but you make the battle feel open. You make your choices in the battle feel like they're actually impacting the way that it goes, rather than just having the health bar go down. Oh, that was super effective. That's not very effective.
In what way would you do that?
All right, so
seeing a Pokemon die, I feel like, or faint, would be all that you would need to be okay, well, shit, it's dead. I can move on. That feels pretty impactful in a battle.
Let's say that
I'm not making fun of you. I'm trying to figure
this.
Let's say directing myself.
Let's keep all the protective stuff, like deflect and protect, all that kind of shit, right?
Okay.
Pokemon that know that in battle, they have simultaneous turns. Now Pokemon can block your attacks when you do your attacks, meaning you have to better plan out how you're going to fight certain Pokemon, and because it's not just oh hey, he is using that one turn, because using those moves you waste a turn.
So it's turn based?
No. In base Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
In base Pokemon, if you use Protect or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It takes 2 turns to do, right?
Okay.
Because you can't attack, can't do anything with those turns. Removing that and having that in an open combat system. So let's say your Chimchar uses Ember, right?
Okay.
Your Chimchar uses Ember, and the enemy Chimchar uses something Protect, right?
Okay.
How you have personally built up your Pokemon on your journey, right?
Okay.
And all the drawbacks that the different Pokemon have would affect and impact the different situations. Maybe the enemy Chimchar in this example is just really good using Leer, right? So you need to build up a Pokemon that can in that battle overcome that. So that way you can fight on equal grounds. Instead of having it where it's just you got to level up and build the strongest type. You adapt your Pokemon to be able to handle different situations differently, and that would incentivize you to seek out certain different Pokemon of any type. Because let's say that Geodude, right?
Yeah.
Rather let's talk about Pokemon biology. Let's incorporate Pokemon biology into the aspects of how they affect in combat, right?
Okay.
Geodude has 2 arms, right?
Yeah.
Big, meaty, rocky arms, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that a Pokemon that keeps using Leer, right?
Uh-huh.
Keeps using Leer, and you want to get hit, grabbing, and then pounding.
You want to make Smash Bros. Pokemon?
Not grabbing in terms of Smash,
Right.
but you get what I mean. I feel like Pokemon would benefit from having a
okay, let's say you take I don't know anything I don't know a whole lot about the moves. I'm still pretty new to Pokemon. You say you take Leer. Leer, does that take 2 moves to make to
No, that takes 1.
So wouldn't the best way to just translate that from a turn-based system, like a move that takes 2 moves, to be make the animation like last longer? If it's like active, you just have him use Leer and he's stuck in that animation, and while he's stuck, the other player can act.
That is another good way to do it. I feel that in order for this to work, it should still stay somewhat true to how Pokemon has approached these things, but I feel it should take a fresh, brand new take on how a fresh, brand new take on how it approaches Pokemon combat, and with Pokemon impacting the environment. Let's say that you have a strong Pokemon that's making craters in the ground, right?
Okay.
You can now use that to your advantage. Suddenly, it's not just about your Pokemon type and the skills of your Pokemon. It's about the environment you're fighting in. It's about like higher ground, lower ground. It's about, all right, he's behind cover, behind a rock wall.
That'd be cool.
I need to figure out how to get around that. Maybe I have a Pokemon who can break the wall, and now there's no cover. And that in itself is how I would try to handle the combat system.
I think the problem with that is we're a little further away from what you want to do with Pokemon, like, entirely. I don't know how logical it is to program all this shit into one game. I am personally on the side of, I don't even think the turn-based battles are like a bad thing. I just think the way that they're done is they're so boring. The text boxes in most default Pokemon games are really slow. It looks like they finally improved that with Arceus. But even beyond that, Arceus still has a lot of issues, I think, with battles. Pokemon still really like buffing themselves. A lot of times a Pokemon will kill you in one shot, or you'll kill that Pokemon in one shot with one move because it's super effective, even if you're the same level. Sometimes even if you're high or like lower level than the Pokemon you're fighting. That's kind of boring. If you want to be like invested in those battles, I think there's in no world should that like happen. If they don't care about that and they don't want, like, that's not like their main focus, and fine, whatever, but I think they need to find something else, kind of like Goth suggested once before. Everything else outside of it needs to be fun if it's not going to be about battles. I think there's no excuse for battles not to be fun. I think they can make both the battles and the stuff outside of battles fun. Tons of other turn-based games are incredibly fun and well done, and Pokemon, despite being one of the absolute biggest, seems to fall behind in like almost every aspect, and I don't understand why.
That's where I would say that in my ideal Pokemon game, like I said, 3D like Breath of the Wild, right? I feel like it should have every location should be interesting. You should have reasons why you want to go to these places and why you want to go into these certain areas. I feel like Breath of the Wild and Shadow of the Colossus are my 2 best examples of how they handle environments.
Really? You're going to use Shadow of the Colossus?
I'm going to use Shadow of the Colossus here.
I disagree.
For like how I've done some of their dungeons.
I love Shadow of Colossus, I really do, but that game's open world is not super interesting to me.
I'm saying that like how they handled the ruins, how they handled like the like not just
the environments are cool looking. I don't necessarily think that that's always enough to make me want to go there. Like if I've been there once and I've seen it, I'm not going to want to go back. There's no point.
Fair enough. But for Breath of the Wild, right? Like some of the locations of Breath of the Wild are very interesting.
Right.
Like
some of them also have weapons that respawn there after every blood moon. There's a reason to go there. Some of them have enemy types for like materials you need. Some of them have, there's a bunch of shit.
Maybe incorporate those similar aspects into Pokemon, to where like let's say like there's specific Pokemon go and spawn in specific areas, right?
Sure.
So if there's a Pokemon that you like the Pokemon you like and you personally want,
right? Well,
you have to go out and seek that Pokemon.
I think that,
and there'll be hurdles along the way that can kind of make the journey not too a pain in the butt. So that way it doesn't feel like a hassle.
I think Arceus does that. They do a good job of that. There are certain Pokemon that you can only find in specific locations. Sometimes I feel like they're a little liberal with where they put they put just Pokemon wherever the fuck they want sometimes, or in places that maybe it doesn't make sense. I don't know much about Pokemon, but you can just pick, what type of environment would this Pokemon want to be in? Put it in that environment, right? Maybe you can have those environments in more than one type of place. I think that's a good way to use environments in Pokemon, is like put specific types there and then make those types unique. You can even make them more unique beyond that. Maybe there's a shop there that only sells a specific kind of like
Pokeball, maybe.
Yeah, that's really useful for that area, or like another area, or that you don't necessarily super like need, but you can do it here. It'll make things easier for you. Stuff like that. Give yourself a reason to go in each area. When I was playing the Diamond remake, it was weird because Motorstoke, I think it is, the one with the giant like bridge on it. I think it's Motorstoke. That was the only town that had like a clothing shop in it, and I don't even think that was in the original game.
Right.
So why is every single town the same? Why would you, other than the gyms,
each town,
which are an inevitable thing you're gonna do to progress the game?
Each town should feel impactful for the world that they're in, and they should make sense for each town. Like a town that's enclosed around like mountains, right? Doesn't need much protection for like walls or fortifications or things of that nature, because they have natural things to protect them.
Yeah.
Like make a city that has a lot of farm fields, like the countryside, right? That can be a core part of like their area. Maybe they're using like certain types of Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
For like herding, for like mowing, like like plowing fields.
Yeah.
And that maybe that directly will add variety to the world and give you a reason to go there. Because maybe you can find more of these kind of like domesticated like work Pokemon, right? Like maybe like the horse, like some like not Panonia, like the fire Pokemon.
Panania?
Not
what the fuck is Panania?
The pony one. The fire
Ponyta?
Ponyta.
What the fuck you like?
I don't. Maybe not like that. But I'm talking about like.
You're the Pokemon guy. How do you not know?
Like the Pokemon that. Hold on. Talk. My mouth is dry.
Okay. One thing I actually do really like about Pokemon, something that I think that they've always, or it seems like they've always done well, is they have a lot of really cool like little like, I don't want to say secret things, but things that the game doesn't necessarily scream about you at. Like cool items and stuff that you can find that, maybe help you catch a legendary in a specific area or something. I think that stuff's really cool. Like a ghost house, for example, that you can catch a specific Pokemon. Those are good ways to use areas. Some Pokemon games do that, but I feel like they don't do it nearly enough.
Yes.
And I think if you're going to make a fully open world Pokemon game, I think you really need, you would super need areas like that. I don't even think necessarily Arceus does it super well, but they at least have reasons for you to go to each area to fill out the decks. Whether that's good enough for some people, I guess that depends.
Here's the thing. I feel like an ideal Pokemon game, right, gives you a reason beyond just completing the Pokemon decks. It gives you a reason to interact. Would give you a reason to interact with the world that you're playing in. Okay. Like, why? Like, maybe this is where like things like side quests can come in, right? Why would you help out this particular farmer? What does that add to your gameplay, and what does that mean for what your playthrough is, right?
Well, how would you reward something like helping out a farmer in your example? In a Pokemon game,
maybe rather than just having an end reward, it leads you to discover a previously unknown location that gives you access to a different like ecology of Pokemon.
So you're saying instead of every side quest giving you a revive or a max potion, instead just
it should
expand
add
on
value to the world.
Expand on that in a way that matters.
Yes.
Because nobody's going to really need that many revives in a Pokemon game. Let's be real.
Revives are
Unless you're doing
handy.
a Nuzlocke. Well, you can't use them if you're doing a Nuzlocke.
But saying, oh, here, adventurer, here's the healing potion for saving my daughter. I feel like for you to go out of your way and spend time doing these quests, I feel like they should be fleshed out, and not just simple like fetch.
I think I agree with you.
I do not like fetch quests.
I definitely agree with you. I think the hardest part about all these things is like games obviously take a lot of time to develop, and I think it's just easier for developers to put fetch quests in the game because they're simpler to make.
Of course.
I really like SMT5 because a lot of their side quests, some of them are fetch quests, like get me this thing from this guy or this thing or whatever. But a lot of them are boss fights. And boss fights, battling is the main like mechanic of the game. That's why you're probably playing the game. Obviously, you can build your demons and stuff the way you want. Also, thank you, Des Joshua, for following. I appreciate it. Also, what was I saying? Yeah, the main thing that you're playing the game for is the battling system. And the game has a good enough battling system to like back it up. So it has a lot of like... The fact that most of the side quests are the boss fights, that's kind of what you want in a game like that. Pokemon, I feel like you don't want to like help these people out because you know you're just gonna get a revive from it as well, and there's nothing like unique about it. Battling isn't necessarily fun. It takes a long time. It's slow. You don't get much out of it, so why do it?
A good example of a game that handles like side quests, in my opinion, very well is Persona 5.
Oh, I disagree.
I'm
you tried to use the game I like.
No, I'm saying.
No, I know.
I'm
sorry.
saying that because some of the quests in Persona 5, right?
Yeah.
They add on to the world.
Sure, I agree. I agree in that way.
They give you, like some quests will give you access to certain areas where, if you didn't pay attention to this one guy, you would have no idea.
I don't know if I would consider those side quests. Maybe they are. It's interesting. I don't know if I would consider like confidants that you necessarily don't have to interact with. I don't know if I would consider those side quests, but maybe they are. Maybe
now,
people
I'm
would.
not saying we should have a confidant system in Pokemon. Although I do think a Pokemon game actually tackling companions like from like the anime and how that would help you. I think that's an interesting thing to talk about because I have really not seen a Pokemon game that consistently has someone other than your Pokemon walking with you. Sure, you have your rival, but you don't see your rival enough to actually give a shit about him.
Like, and they suck.
He's just a hurdle in your way.
Yeah.
He's just an annoying brat that gets in your way when you're trying to like do something very important.
Sure.
Having a human companion who you can actually bond with and who could give you things that matter could help push your journey into a way that make it matter to you.
Right.
And maybe depending on like the type of trainers you would bring with you, they would have their own personal things going on that you help out with them, and they'd feel like living, breathing people.
Yeah.
And not just Hello, player X. I am here to give you revive for you cured my son's sickness. Here, have a potion.
Your rival and other buddy characters are basically just strangers on occasion. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they don't feel like a massive part of the game. I feel like if there's any character that should be like a real challenge to when you're fighting, or if you're gonna have, I guess that leads back into what I was saying earlier. If you're gonna like put this emphasis on battling, that's what people do in the Pokemon world, is they battle. Why would you create like all these characters, this story? Why would you shove it down people's throats if you're not going to like connect it with the battles in a significant way or flesh them out to where people actually care about them?
Another thing is that like your personal carrier, right?
Yeah.
some Pokemon games have done this or tried to expand on this, but you really have no reason to really go back to your starting town. You have no reason to care about your character's mother or father or family. There's no things that ground your character
I think
in a very human way. And I think that adding reasons to go back home, adding reasons to interact with the people in your hometown
that could be cool,
that you've known your entire life.
I think the problem is like what I view as the Pokemon Company's way, or maybe Game Freak specifically, way of like introducing story is super intrusive to the point where I don't want to experience those things. If they worked on making it less or more about, I like your idea because it's not intrusive. Maybe you go back to your mom's house on a whim, and because of that, you get rewarded. She makes you, like, I don't know, some fucking mac and cheese or something that you can give to your Pokemon and full heal them or something. I don't know. Something cool like that. And you just get rewarded. Maybe you have a conversation with her. You go home. You move on.
I feel like choices, like this
get a little lore.
This is one thing that choices in video games like this, an open world game,
choices in
really
games
matter
suck.
to kind of affect the plot. I feel like rather than just having an enemy antagonist like Team Galactic, right? Where they're 100% the bad guys. Maybe give a choice to actually like interact with that group more, to hear them out, to hear their ideas out. You know what I mean?
I think
give the players a choice to interact with the different groups of the world, and why does Team Galactic do what they do? Why do they want to do, and why does that matter?
I think you're missing part of my point when it comes to like this isn't the thing that I personally feel like Pokemon is focused on, because I don't know what the hell they're focused on. I have no idea. Like no aspect of the game is strong enough for me to like get excited about. The way that they deliver their stories or whatever makes me not want to care about it.
Exactly, and I'm saying that
not that they're interesting to begin with. That's another problem.
I'm saying that like they should be dynamic. Like
you want them focused on multiple things.
There should be an overall plot, but how you approach the plot and how you get your information from the story should be entirely dependent on what you, the player, want to do, and not what the game wants you to do.
Not what the game forces you to do. Not just what it wants you to do. What it makes you do.
Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you should force to go talk to these people, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying that like you have the option. Like let's use Diamond for an example, right? Okay. How cool could it be if you could if you go into the Galactic headquarters, right?
Right.
And rather than going in there to fight everyone, right? You go there on a whim to kind of hear them out. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like talk. Like rather than go there to fight them and talk, like they're the enemy. I have to fight them. Right?
Yes.
You can interact with them.
You just want more choice, basically.
I feel like video games, especially open world games, benefit from choice because it gives you a reason to do certain things instead of just having like.
I agree, but in the context
having like a black and white kind of.
I think Diamond's a really bad example because everything you're doing in the campaign of Diamond is you're just trying to get to the end, to fight the Elite Four, to do whatever else, right? You're not really like going around. There's no other substance to the game other than doing these battles just to get to the end.
Yes, and I feel like having.
You feel like having choice in that would like maybe spice it up?
Having a choice to where there's not just one possibility for an end for your character, but having different ways you can go about. If you set out on a goal, right? And you want to achieve that goal. Like let's say you don't give a crap about battling and you just want to catch Pokemon, right?
Sure.
The game should not force you to do both. The game should allow you to have the option. Okay, so
it should teach you to do both. Yeah, it doesn't have to force you.
You shouldn't if you don't want to go fight Elite Four. That's not what you personally want. Like this run to be about, right? Having the option to say, all right, I want to catch all Pokemon. I want to find out why Pokemon are in the world, what they do, why they matter. You should go out on that, and the game should respond to that drive.
Almost everyone just cares about shiny hunting. That's the meta. That's totally true. I feel like hunting shinies is the one true fun thing about Pokemon.
And
that's the thing. That's what's fun about it, is the catching, the collecting. But I feel like it doesn't have to be the exclusively fun thing. You can flesh the battles out and make them fun. Give it another aspect. Because when you make that one thing, the catching aspect, the only thing people care about, and then you lock that aspect behind the story, it's going to make people really hate the story, and it's going to make it feel like it's a really slow slog of a game to get through.
I agree.
You're going to feel obligated to get to it to do the thing that you want to do. And I don't think that's a good... Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Having the game respond to what you as a player are trying to do,
right? But it's hard to develop that for everybody.
It would be, and the thing is, a game like this would take time, because you would need to do something that would appeal to different types of people. Like people who want to fight, people who enjoy battles and want to experience the battle system, right? Mm-hmm. Versus people who want to just catch Pokemon, see the cool Pokemon, find out what cool things they do. Versus the people who want to explore places, see good sights. Right?
By the way, it's like beating a story in an MMO just so you can get to the raid dungeons. But what if you only want to do the raid dungeons? What if you just want a game that's just raid dungeons? But you got to beat the story. That to me would make me feel like I wasted my time to beat the story because I didn't get anything out of it. If it's like a challenge, this opens up. This said challenge opens up something cool that will add on to the game that, will ultimately help you with your own personal goal in that game.
Yes.
I don't want to get rid of challenge necessarily, but I think it's a different argument necessarily to be like, well, not that I think you're making this argument, Goth, just in general. Like, some people are like, well, people just want to get through games and get through all the fun parts without having any challenge. I think it's fine to put challenge, but make the challenge, pertain to the thing that people want to do. Like maybe some people in that argument would say, well, you got to get through the story because that gives you the rite of passage to get to the, the raid dungeons. But what if the challenge came from the raid dungeons themselves, the boss fights and stuff? That way you're having the fun doing it and you're still doing the thing, that leads to your ultimate goal. Not that you're saying that, to be clear. Just that's the argument that I think a lot of people tend to make against what I was saying.
But overall, I do really think an open world game like that, having the world kind of there should be a main story. There should not be forced down your throat. You should have an option to go on that main story.
Sure.
But you should have personal.
I just want freedom. I just want to do what the fuck I want.
You should have personal reasons why, there's. Why do you want to catch all these Pokemon? Why do you want?
Well, that's what the story tries to set up for you. But the problem is that oftentimes goes against what you actually give a fuck about.
Yeah, exactly. So it should be tailored to what the player wants their journey to feel like.
Yeah, but the problem is tailoring something like that. You're never going to get what each specific person wants.
True, but if you can, but if
so I'm saying it's hard. What I'm saying is
get a good variety of people to have a good variety of people getting tailored, then I think that's a hell of a lot better of a gaming direction than saying, you are a kid, you are a trainer, go beat this guy, go beat those guys, catch these Pokemon.
I mean, in some aspects, it's all kids want, right?
I mean, true, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If you get a lot out of the battles of Pokemon as they are now, then you probably still love Pokemon. I don't get anything out of that. Nothing at all. So I feel like me having to slodge through the story to collect shinies a lot of the times makes it just not even fucking worth it.
I also feel, like I said, like NPCs. NPCs should not just be, oh, hey, you talk to this one guy, that's it.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot to do and ask, but I personally feel like every NPC,
oh boy,
you should have a reason to want to talk to, and should have somewhat of an impact on the journeys that you make and the choices that you want to do.
Yeah, I think to be clear, none of the stuff we're suggesting or saying is necessarily easy to do. Yes, a podcast. We're
Like,
trying out here. Trying
like,
something new.
Like maybe like a one Joe Schmo who you saw like sitting near the elevator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe when you're on a train, right? Maybe on a trainer run, you don't really pay in mind, right?
Sure.
But then you decide, okay, I want to replay this game. I want to catch all the Pokemon, right?
Sure.
Maybe he's someone who can help you find certain Pokemon and say, okay, so you want to find Fire type. Here's this time and this area that Fire type typically come in.
Well, here's the thing.
It's like NPCs that help flesh you out and build off of what you want to do.
I feel like a Nintendo response would be like, well, what if we put this NPC in the game and he said something really funny that everyone's gonna meme? Isn't that good enough? What if you talk to an NPC and you get a genuine laugh out of it? Do you think that the NPC was worth being there? I think so.
I think so, yes.
Even if they give you nothing and do nothing else.
Yes, you should always have NPCs like that because comic relief is very important.
Well, not just comically. What if they tell you something about the story that you might really want to know?
Yeah,
my point is, like, there are ways you can implement NPCs that necessarily don't have to give you something or show you something to help you on your specific journey that I think can be beneficial.
I feel
but
like
that's related more to like writing.
Humor is also like an important factor in this game. Like,
dude,
like how funny do you think it'd be, right? If there's like an actual Pokemon costume you can go to, right? You fight other trainers, maybe it's online. That's all great, right?
Yeah.
But like there's like a bathroom portion you can go in, right?
What the
and you
fuck?
hold on, follow me. You go
I'm
in this. You go in this. And there's a whole bunch of stalls. You can't go in them, right? but like you randomly click on one of them, and you just hear a guy struggling.
This is a joke he's written in his mind. He's been waiting to see it in a Pokemon game.
You hear a guy struggling, and you build up. It's like a one-time.
Nintendo will never do anything like that. Are you kidding me?
I know. But think about it. That is such. We all have times.
David is just waiting. He's waiting for the public bathroom Pokemon joke. He's got to see it before he dies.
No, that's not. I'm just saying that. I'm saying that I think it's funny.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
I think it'd be funny because it's we've all had that one time where we're just having a bad day in the bathroom. All right, we all have that one. We all have that one day.
You have many of those days.
And I feel like those small moments, right? Those small moments where you feel like, yeah, I've had a day like that.
What about the one scene in Mother where a kid gets sexually assaulted?
Okay, let's not have that.
Maybe we don't need those.
Yeah, Mother 3 is Oh,
wait,
boy.
Was it Mother 3? Is that why it's not localized? Maybe. Kids getting sexually abused. We don't need those. That's fine. You can keep those out of gaming.
Oh, Japan.
No, I think humor goes along with. I think.
I just think like having small moments like that
could add a lot. Just better writing is what you're saying.
Because we've all had those days, and it's a silly kind of moment, you know.
Yeah.
But it should be.
He really wants the bathroom joke.
It's not just that, man. It's like
I know. I just think it's funny that you're like, man, everybody's got those days. Come on, Nintendo, just put it in a Pokemon game. We finally need it.
Like
we gotta see it.
Maybe like a small moment, right? For like the kid's getting bullied or something, right?
Okay.
And like you can choose to help that kid out. And like we've all been bullied. We all know that. We all know what it's like. It's relatable, and it kind of. I feel like moments like that, where it's like someone struggling, maybe like with his job, or maybe it's a kid getting.
That's
bullied.
really funny. I love it when kids get bullied.
Or I'm not saying funny.
I know. You want the writing to be more relatable.
I want the writing to be more relatable, and I want it to
less robotic.
Less robotic.
Yeah, I get you. I'm just messing with you. That's all. Then the bully and the kid dated. Okay.
Oh.
Or maybe you save a kid from being bullied. A humorous aspect would be you save him from being bullied, and then he immediately slogs you in the nuts. There you go. I'm available, Nintendo. Hire me. I'll be your writer.
That'd be very funny.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways they can improve it. I think they're heading in the right direction with Arceus.
I think each Pokemon should have their own personality. Like
I would argue they do, based off design.
I'm saying
they
like,
each have a unique cry, right?
I'm saying like not just design. I'm saying personality.
The way they're animated, the way they're designed,
how they interact with you.
The types of moves they have. I see personality in that.
But what I'm saying is like how they interact with you on your journey.
Sure.
For example, let's use the Pokemon name of Ash for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ash and his Pikachu, they have a clear like connection, and Pikachu does some funny shit sometimes to either fuck with Ash or just in general. I feel like having your Pokemon doing
randomly fucking hurt you would be really funny.
Like imagine if your Pokemon actually shocked you, and there's an animation that showed that. That'd be funny.
I think people would be pissed if it did damage, though.
Of course, you're human. It should never do damage to the player. There should be no player damage. But I'm saying it'd be a funny and humorous moment.
I guess the challenge would be how do you put that in your game without
maybe like Psyduck. The whole memes of Psyducks is how fucking stupid they are, right?
Yeah.
Maybe translating that to the game to where like if you have a Psyduck with you and it's out with you, and you're trying to get something done. Maybe it just goofs up a few times, you know. Don't have it be a consistent thing that gets in the way, but have it feel like like it's contributing something and making the Pokemon feel more alive and just being things to capture and put in like chicken fights.
We need is a virtual reality game into the world of Pokemon. That could be cool. Personality is having a headache. True.
Oh my God, I'm a Psyduck. Then holy shit, you guys. Remember
you are a Psyduck.
The headaches I get.
You are stupid, and you do get a lot of head. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. No, you do get a lot of headaches. Yeah, that'd be cool. I see a decent amount of personality in them. I think you can see personality in animation, the moves that they have,
of course,
even their cries, the way that they look.
But when I say personality, I'm talking about like how they.
I think interact with the character. I feel like there's not a ton of that in the games right now, anyway. But if you're advocating for more of that, I agree. Yeah. That'd be cool.
I feel like the ideal Pokemon game would have that.
Yeah. The most amount of interaction you get in Arceus is you can throw your Pokemon out of the ball and you can speak to it and then it'll yell at you. And that's it.
Yeah.
All right. You want to move on to the next topic?
Unless you have anything you want to add about Pokemon.
Pokemon sucks. Every Pokemon game before Arceus is garbage. No, I'm kidding. I'm obviously joking. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think Arceus is a really good step in the right direction, and I hope they continue to develop games like Arceus and add on to the gameplay. And hopefully they don't just go back to remaking the same games over and over again with really slow...
Wakanda says hippies.
Hippies? The name is based off of a YouTube channel we had a while ago.
We still have it.
We still have it, but, we don't really have a name for this podcast. It's kind of just temporary right now. We're working on it.
It's a temporary name.
Yeah, we're working on it.
But sure. Which topic would you like to go next? I kind of flew into the Pokemon thing, so what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about elitism in gaming.
Oh, elitism in gaming and Melee.
So we have Melee on the list, but we also have gaming in general. What do you want to start with, Melee or gaming in general? I feel like it most strongly relates to Melee.
I love Super Smash Brothers Melee.
I do too.
It is a very fun game, and it is one of the best Smash games made.
The best.
But holy hell... Can the Melee community be toxic when it comes to other enjoyers of the Smash genre?
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I think that's a stigma that isn't even necessarily all that true. Oh. I don't see Melee players going around shitting on people playing other games on a consistent basis, like the argument would have you believe. I guess it happens, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it happens more in their own community where they're not really hurting anybody.
And I recently signed up for a brawl tournament.
Did you have fun?
I did not. I was trying to bait you. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, and you didn't get me.
Exactly. See, I'll own up to that.
He tried to gotcha me live on stream.
I was trying to gotcha you. I was trying to get you.
No, I thought you actually signed up for a brawl tournament.
No,
I was gonna be like, did you have fun?
No,
Did you win?
Alright. I personally don't like Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I don't find it fun.
Anime elitism? Yeah, okay, that's true as well, yeah. I mean, look, can Melee be a little elitist? Absolutely. I think that you could say that about like a lot of things. I don't know how positively directed that argument can be, because people really, I think it's more just like they're really passionate about the game. I fucking love Melee. I think it's the best Smash game, but I don't think all the other ones are necessarily like bad, except for maybe Brawl. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just think that Melee has very unique mechanics that have kept it in the limelight for a long time. I don't think you can really deny that. I think it has an incredible community. It has online play now. Melee, a GameCube game from fucking 2000 whatever 3, whenever it came out. I don't know. Like, because of the community, you can load up Dolphin and on a specific build of Melee, just go online like as easily as you could in Ultimate, and it's better at like connection.
Well, that's a different topic.
Because of the community.
That's a connection, like that's a different topic.
I think it depends on how much gatekeeping is done by the community. I think that's a great point, because I honestly don't think, especially in recent years, the Melee community is that bad. I really don't. I think people like to say it because I think to a lot of people, having a game from an older generation that people much prefer and like better because of very specific aspects of that game, and they're positive about it, and they say, hey man, you should really try Melee, even if you like Smash 4, even if you like Ultimate, maybe I want to play Melee sometimes. I don't see an issue with that necessarily.
You know what, Ooga Boonga? You're based for that. You're based.
Smash 64 is the best game. I love getting comboed by Pikachu and dying from 0 to just death off stage. It's my favorite thing. Anyway, that happens in Ultimate too.
Yeah.
Therefore, making Melee the best one.
I don't know.
You can't die to Pikachu like that.
I don't know. We got a fox like that.
You can die to Fox like that, but it takes a lot more skill to perform something like that than it does from like a Pikachu in 64 or Ultimate. Have you played?
So you're saying
listen,
Smash 4 players don't have a lot of skill?
I didn't even say Smash 4. Smash
sorry,
Ultimate is not Smash 4.
64. Are you saying Smash 64 characters don't have skill?
That's not what I said at all.
It's easier?
There is skill. I just don't think they're as hard to play as like a Melee character. If you incorporate everything, like a lot of the techniques that you use in competitive play, I think it's clearly a lot harder. And I don't feel like that's elitist to say that. Just because a game is harder doesn't even necessarily mean it's better. Nothing beats developing arthritis from using a 64 controller. Having to grow
that's a part of the experience, man.
Oh yeah, I love having to fucking use the horrible control stick with no rubber on it. And chafing my thumb.
I love having my thumb all stretched and hurting from the bone.
From the bone.
And you know me, like I got a meaty thumb.
David's got a fat thumb.
I got fat thumbs.
Yeah, no, I think elitism in gaming obviously is like kind of annoying. But I don't think Melee's that bad. I think they're a little elitist. I think that's fine. Maybe I'm a little biased because I think it's the best Smash game. I think it's the most fun Smash game. It's not the most balanced. I
don't know, man.
Absolutely.
I kind of disagree. I think elitism in general is kind of a bad thing for communities. I don't really feel like it helps communities out.
But I think what you consider elitism and what I consider elitism are two different things.
Yeah, but you said the elitism in the Melee community is deserving. That's what you said there.
Yeah, it's like that's not what I said there. If that's what you took for what I said.
That
I said Melee.
I must have misheard you.
I said the Melee community has a little bit of elitism. I think every community, maybe not every community, but a lot of gaming communities, when it comes to different versions of games, has elitism involved. Every aspect of media has elitism involved. Okay, I mean, like Goth said, there's anime elitists, right?
Yeah, I mean, I personally want to know that.
There are like YouTube fandoms that are stands for, their fandom or whatever, and if there's a content creator similar to them, they'll start like wars and shit. It happens everywhere.
You
can consider that elitism.
Can I say, this is off topic a little bit?
What?
as much as I actually do like anime, I actually don't talk to a lot of people who like anime as well. I maybe 4 or 5. That's it. So I mean, I really can't speak for the
cool.
anime.
Well, I don't watch anime, so
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
You can't speak at all. I mean,
I haven't watched an anime in a very long time, but
despite the fact that he shills out for
no, absolutely. Hang on a second. You said you can't speak to elitism in Melee. In anime, you absolutely can. You don't see people argue about anime all the fucking time, even if you don't watch it.
I don't really seek that out I don't have that content tailored to me where I watch people bitch about anime. All right?
It's everywhere though. It's all over the internet.
I have anime that I like, and I sometimes rewatch those animes. And sometimes I see new ones. I'm like, huh, that's pretty cool. And that's pretty much where it ends.
I see it everywhere. I don't watch like a ton of anime, but I still see it everywhere.
I don't even know what like the popular animes are right now. I just know the ones that I like and think are the best.
You've heard of fucking Demon Slayer. You've heard of My Hero Academia.
I've seen Demon Slayer get run around. I have no idea what it's about. I've tried watching My Hero Academia. I have not really finished.
You don't need to know what it's about to hear like how obsessive people are over like these things. One Piece, Naruto, like come on.
The One Piece fandom's still alive.
Of course, as long as the show's going on, which it will for many more years.
That show will never die.
Yes, there will be a fandom.
One Piece has. All right, here's the thing. This is the reason why I can never.
Exactly. You didn't read the manga, watch the anime in Japanese. Dub versus sub, that's a form of elitism, and buy every figurine or you're a fake fan. Elitism in anime.
No, fair enough.
Goth out here making better arguments than me.
You make a good point, Goth.
But even just if you look at the shows alone, there's still elitism there. And I think it's very easy to see. My point is, like, it's also a little bit different because Melee is connected to the Smash community. The Smash community is a part of multiple games, not just Melee, but in the Smash 64, Ultimate, not really so much Smash 4 anymore, or Brawl, but you know, they have these communities and they're all considered under one like brand. It's like Dragon Ball Z versus Dragon Ball the original or something. If somebody is a diehard fan of one of these things and says it's way better than this one, I could argue that that's like elitism.
I can attest that there's kind of like elitism in Dragon Ball 1. I can attest that. I have witnessed that.
It's in many. I know. Yeah.
I'm saying like things that I've personally seen.
So, can you think of examples in Melee specifically that you would say are examples of like elitism?
The only ones I can really say are the things that are memed to high hell.
Well, you can use those.
Like like an argument that I've heard some people make. I don't personally believe in this argument. I'm going to get that out there right now. I don't believe in this argument.
Sure.
But some people I've talked to say that the elitism and the point of elitism in Melee is because if you're like wait, hold on, what did he say?
If you're playing with items versus not playing with items, is true. It's a form of like you think you're better than somebody else because you don't play with items. I agree. I think that exists in every Smash game. But yeah, because in other Smash games, I would even argue that that's even more.
You can't do all that. You can't do all that movement in another Smash games, right?
Yeah, and you can move in Ultimate a little bit.
But like because you can't do all those movements because it's
playing with items is cringe.
Because it's like the argument. Some people play the game, right?
Yes.
Just play the game, not to be competitive, and just have fun. It's the casual versus competitive.
That's fine. The problem I have is people conflate that with seeing people display them liking the game in a competitive format online, or saying an opinion and saying something like, I can't play Melee with items on because I don't find it fun. They take that and then they say that's elitism. That's not elitism. That's an opinion. That's not affecting the way you play the game necessarily. If you're somebody who enjoys Ultimate, for example, let's use a more modern example, and you say you don't enjoy playing with items, which is the majority of people online in Smash, I could say, like, yeah, maybe that affects the way you play the game. But if you're somebody who doesn't even go online, and you're somebody who just, like, plays with friends, and you play with items with your friends, why do you even care? Why does that affect you?
I mean, yeah, I would...
Because they think you're better than you, maybe, but
I would say...
I don't know. I don't even necessarily think that that's, like, the case in a lot of these examples.
I agree with you.
Or a lot of, like, the examples other people use.
That... But your point when you said that, like someone going on a YouTube video and saying, I don't like playing Melee, I can't play Melee with items, right?
Yeah.
And that isn't an elitist statement. An elitist statement would be that if you're a Melee player who plays with items, you are just a bad Melee player.
Sure.
I feel like that.
Right, I can understand why that would be like, well, fuck you, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, what is your personal opinion on that?
On items? That's boring. My personal opinion on what? On like when people say stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's elitism. Yeah. Obviously that's elitism. I don't I think the bigger like thing in general is me personally. This is why I say like maybe I have a slight bias, not just because I like Melee a lot, but also because like I don't generally give a shit if somebody thinks they're better than me. The way I do things in my life, I'm pretty like confident in, so I don't care. But like if that bothers other people, maybe that's valid. I think that's fine. I don't think that's good for the community. No, I agree with you. I don't think it's not a good thing for the community. People shouldn't be like bullied or harassed for the way that they play a game. That's fucking stupid.
Right. And I feel like some people have been turned away from Smash.
I think a lot of people are turned away from Melee because of stuff like that. I agree. It was way more when you see people get mad or say you're ruining Ultimate when people play casual Smash. Yeah, those people are just dumb. I know maybe it ruins the argument to chalk it up to that, but it really feels like that to me sometimes. Like if you're reading comment sections and being like, this is, so elitist because
I just noticed that.
What?
That's cool.
What?
You're Gardevoir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I want to get my whole team sitting up there.
I like that. I just wanted to point that out because
Thanks for derailing my conversation.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just messing with you. I don't know. Maybe it's boring to say that, to be like, well, then why even have the conversation of like, well, elitism,
I don't know.
I think it can affect communities. Yes, I agree, and I think that's bad. But ultimately, like, people are gonna do it. People are gonna say it.
It's just kind of like I feel like
I don't know how to stop it specifically. I guess. How would you think to stop it?
I think it just boils down to like everyone needs to just not be assholes.
Just be more accepting. The problem with that,
need to be more understanding and not be assholes.
I think we both know the problem with that.
Is that people like being assholes.
Some people do it not just to be an asshole, but for the sake of, trolling. There's no way around that on the internet. It's the unfortunate part.
You and me have both fallen susceptible to this state of mind.
Me more. I think me a lot more, but yeah, no, I think as long as we both agree it's bad, it probably shouldn't happen,
It should not happen, no.
Yeah. But I also hold the argument it's not that bad. It's not as bad as people make it out to be in Melee. That's what I personally believe. That's what I see. I watch a lot of content from the Melee community. I watch a lot of Melee stuff. I don't see like this super unbelievably toxic elitist community that so many and I play both games. I mostly play Ultimate nowadays, and I don't feel like they're elitist. So I don't know. That's just me.
I mean, fair enough.
That it? We ready to move on?
That was a very quick topic.
Yeah, it was a quick topic.
To all the other ones.
There's probably more to be had in terms of that conversation. But I think that's the basic of what it boils down to is like, just be more accepting. Elitism exists. It sucks. But not much we could do about it other than just condemn it and be like, you're an asshole, and then move on.
What's your favorite game, Zach?
What's my favorite game? Interesting you asked me that, David. I have to really think on this because I don't really know. What's my favorite game?
Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back.
I love Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. It's my favorite game
SNES?
for the SNES. Yes, I poured many hours into the said game.
Man, have you beaten it?
I sure have. 12 times, in fact.
Dude, that's amazing. I mean, I honestly.
I think it's more interesting to start with, David. What is your favorite game?
Why is it more interesting for me?
Because I just played the Uno reverse card. What is your favorite game?
You're the guy who's better at video games. Would it not be more interesting for you to state your favorite video game?
Yeah, but I stream on this channel. People know less about you. Checkmate. What's your favorite video game?
You know what? Fair enough, motherfucker. Fair enough. I can't argue with that. What is my favorite game?
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to even be your favorite. What's the game you go back to the most, that you play the most, that is one of your favorites? You don't even have to determine it down to one.
There are several games that's like that. It's very hard to say what game I come back to the most. I'd say as of recently, it has been RimWorld, because RimWorld in general, it has a lot of aspects from games that I like. It has survival in it.
Yeah.
It has, you build stuff.
Civ or Heroes of Might and Magic. Nice.
I mean, those are also good ones. But I mean,
for you.
I mean, I would agree with him there. Those are also two good games.
Yeah.
I feel like RimWorld has become a game that I've come back to a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for Civ and Heroes of Might and Magic, I have a lot of nostalgia for those games.
Right.
And if I come back to them, yeah, I'll enjoy them, and yeah, I'll probably spend maybe like a whole month on a Civ 4 binge.
Yeah.
And if the right mood strikes me and I'm playing with someone, it'll be a Heroes of Might and Magic mood. But RimWorld is a game that can literally be anything I want it to be. It does not have to just be about maintaining a colony. It can be about literally just some guy waking up butt naked in the middle of nowhere. Now he has to survive or else he'll die. It can be a dude trapped inside of a stone mountain or in the middle of the ocean with nothing and no one. It can...
Would you say you gravitate more towards survival games in general?
I like sandbox survival games.
Gotcha.
Because RimWorld and Minecraft have really done a good job with this, because it gives you the option to shape the world how you want it.
Right.
And with how easy it is to mod both games, it can literally be anything you really want it to be.
Yeah, you're a mod guy. I realize that.
I really love modifications. I like seeing what creative things people can add.
This guy will spend a week just building his perfect Skyrim.
It takes longer than that. I mean, Skyrim is another good one.
You said you prefer Oblivion, didn't you?
I do, but sadly, Oblivion in itself is the modding scene for it is
dying.
It's been dead, man.
Oh, that's sad.
No one really makes mods for Oblivion no more. I mean, people are all focused on Sky Oblivion coming out, which
combines both games, right?
So. No, it's just Oblivion, the world of Cyrodiil in Oblivion in Skyrim with the Skyrim engine, and you got all your Skyrim mods still in there. And whole new mods can be made.
Wait, it's just Oblivion in the Skyrim world, Skyrim engine?
Yeah,
there's no Skyrim connected to it or anything?
No, it's just the story of Oblivion.
I see.
All of that, and they're remaking all the assets from the ground up. And I mean, the modding scene for Oblivion is just fucking dead. I mean, Morrowind was also a good game, but Morrowind's modding scene has been gone for a long time.
But out of which, let's say you take modding out of the equation.
Modding out of the equation,
yes.
Purely vanilla.
Yes. What would you rather play, Oblivion or Skyrim?
Oblivion.
Okay.
Because Oblivion has far more mechanics, which make feeling like you're doing things far more fun.
So would it be fair to say that, in general, that would be your more favorable game over Skyrim? Or do you think the modding is so significant enough, like the modding difference is so significant enough that it pushes Skyrim way higher above?
Skyrim has always had a good, Skyrim is only alive right now because
of mod. Yeah, I agree.
But Oblivion offers you the chance. Some of the Skyrim that you don't want, you can literally with Skyrim you can't really do much with your fist. You punch someone, it'll always do the same damage, right? In Oblivion,
unless you're Khajiit, right? It does more.
It does a little bit more, but if you're in Oblivion,
I play Khajiit.
You can play
Catman all the way.
You can play any race you want. And you can just punch the hell out of everything, and eventually your punches will get strong enough. You'll just one-shot people.
Okay, that is pretty cool.
But you have to work for it. Like, if you just keep jumping and jumping, your jumping will get higher. It'll get faster.
Wait, can it just get insanely high? Or is there a cap?
You can get insane.
Can you, like, moon jump?
You can run very fast if you just keep running.
Why haven't I played Oblivion?
If you can run, if you consistently sprint in full heavy armor, eventually the negative effects of wearing heavy armor will not exist. They're just gone. You're just moving fast.
Why doesn't Skyrim have that?
Because they dropped the attribute system. Because like Fallout 3.
No, they have some attributes. Like your sneak and shit goes up.
Yeah, those are skills. I mean, attributes. I mean, like strength, endurance, stamina, vitality. Your health dynamically grows with you, and you can just get crazy levels of health.
Are there worms under your skin, David?
I don't.
Continue. I'm sorry. I saw that and I got distracted. I laughed. Continue.
It is also the goofiness of Oblivion.
Yeah. Yeah.
The goofiness of Oblivion has a certain charm.
Oblivion's characters are all really fat in the face. I don't know why.
They are, but how goofy it is has a charm to it.
The best. I think everyone's seen this video at this point. The one where the guard walks into the spikes that go up, and then it comes back down, and then another guard comes by and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And the spikes go up and they kill him too.
Yes, there's so many funny scenes you can find in Oblivion. And like the thing is,
I love shit NPCs, like that in games. Right. Broken, like, oh.
And Oblivion is known for this. Skyrim doesn't do this. In Oblivion, they made a thing where NPCs will randomly go up to each other and have random dialogue. They'll exchange and talk to each other. So you're going around just talking to people. They'll just have the weirdest.
I've heard this.
They'll have the weirdest fucking conversation.
Yeah, I've heard this.
And that's one thing that Skyrim lacks. In Skyrim, the NPCs, they just stand there all day. They're doing like maybe you'll have the blacksmith going to the forge and doing certain things. In Oblivion, one NPC can have a schedule that goes across the entire city. You can have someone going inside the tavern, just talking to everyone, and then going to his home and doing things. And that adds a lot of charm. To the world. It adds goofiness.
It builds the world.
Events. I think there's a thing, and I think anyone who plays Oblivion will know this, to where in the Imperial City there's a boat, and I'm not talking about the boat that you go in and it gets hijacked at sea. I'm talking about the boat on the other end with that pirate lady that tells you to get lost. If you go onto it and piss off all the pirates and aggro them, you can run to the guards, and the guards will see they're committing a crime, and all the guards will just slaughter them. And then you have the entire boat for yourself. You can just not do the Dark Brotherhood quest line.
You like the wacky shit.
I like the wackiness of Oblivion.
I can agree to that.
Oblivion has some
I like me some
wacky events. And the storyline for Oblivion, I feel like you get more. I would say
Skyrim.
When you have Sean Bean.
Sean Bean.
Like voicing one of the main characters.
Oh. And I thought Sean Bean was the name of a character in Oblivion.
No. It's Sean the way it's like scene. And like the way that you just have, like Patrick Stewart. I think Patrick Stewart voices the Emperor. You get attached to these characters with their goofy, stupid-looking faces, and just the wacky fucking adventures you can get involved in.
Yeah, I would say that Skyrim has a lot of that wackiness, just not to the extent that Oblivion has. Oh, for sure. That probably comes with it being an older game, but
yeah. like you can just have the weirdest shit happen in Oblivion. You can commit a crime and be in the deepest, darkest dungeon, and there'll be that
and
one
they'll come
guard.
Down and they'll fight.
There'll be that one guard who's like, stop. Like he doesn't care if you went into the pits of hell. He will follow you and he will make you pay that fine, or he'll make you pay with blood.
Yeah.
And in Skyrim, it's like, I don't know. I as much as I like the modding scene in Skyrim.
Yeah.
The vanilla version of Skyrim, I think the only other thing that it has going cool
I
with it
don't think I'd ever play Skyrim vanilla.
Is that I think the thing that made people get cool with it's like, it's Vikings and dragons. Vikings and dragons and arrows in the knee. That's all that Skyrim really, that core Skyrim
Damn, he's hitting hard on the Skyrim fans.
Like Skyrim is a good it's fun, all right? But let's be honest. No one plays vanilla Skyrim.
That's true. No one does.
No one does.
So as
you can play vanilla Oblivion with no mods, and you will have a great time. Great time.
Sure. As fondly as you've talked about Oblivion, you still don't feel comfortable saying that it's your favorite game.
Because Oblivion,
it's more of a single experience, I would say.
It's not a single experience. Because Oblivion has a lot of replayability value.
Sure.
First, how you can increase your stats. You can be a fast-moving, sneaky person. It's where you can just sneak all the time and running. You won't need to run. You can just
be invisible,
crawl,
man.
You can just crawl around. You can walk up right to someone and just start striking, and they'll just look around like nothing's going on. You can,
so what prevents
certain things.
What makes it difficult for you to say like, this is my favorite game?
Because while Oblivion hits really hard.
It's different.
Because
different.
Oblivion was a game that I played during a very difficult time frame in my life.
Uh-huh.
Other games like Minecraft and
Offer more,
Civilization 4 have that kind of like thing. There's some funny things that can happen in Minecraft. You know that. You know if you're just playing.
But with like multiple people, I don't think you get those experiences in single player.
Even when you're playing like for the first of the year of gameplay by yourself, like you can. There are circumstances, especially with like the villagers, where you can just find the goofiest situations in it.
I don't feel the same way, I would say.
There's not enough, but
they feel less lifeless than say like an Oblivion NPC. I don't look at a villager and be like, haha, he went in that door 3 times, haha. If I see an Oblivion NPC do that while like speaking some weird ass voice line, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like that'd be pretty funny.
You see, I would say Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, you do love Kingdom Hearts? Forgot about that, yeah.
I would say that just because Kingdom Hearts, as for those who don't know, I love writing. I love writing shit. I love world building and things like that. Oh no. Kingdom Hearts.
Don't point to Kingdom Hearts writing.
No, I'm not saying that. Kingdom Hearts is goofy ass writing. I'm saying that like when I was a kid, Kingdom Hearts inspired me to go on that.
Just to want to write.
To want to write. And because of that, my fondest creations came out purely because I played Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts, yeah. I can see that.
And like, I have a lot of fond memories of Kingdom Hearts. I have a lot of fun memories of a ton of games. It's very hard for me to pinpoint my favorite game, not because of really nostalgic value. The gameplay aspect is also a very important part of me. That's why I'll say it. Oblivion is a better Elder Scrolls game than Skyrim. Because what you can do in Oblivion.
Can you make the 3 most crucial points that need to be fulfilled for something to be your favorite game?
It has to have fun, engaging gameplay.
Okay.
It has to have emotional impact that leaves me remembering this game and having fond memories with it.
Well, okay, elaborate on that. Could that emotional impact come from an external place? Like you said before, you were in a difficult place playing Oblivion helped you sort of...
Fine. Let's use Kirby Air Ride as an example.
Oh, here come the pancakes.
Yes, I know. It is a pancake story. But it's not just that. I grew up with not having a lot of friends when I was a kid. And this before even I really started talking the way we did.
Mm-hmm.
So there was only very few social interactions that I had. I mean, the biggest ones I can say are from my brothers. Yeah. Who, we played a lot of games with. I mean, my oldest brother, being him, we played the heck out of like Civilization, Heroes, Might and Magic. We've done a lot of things like that, and that was the only real kind of like interaction that I had. So when I was alone, I had to kind of a Kirby Air Ride kind of. It made me feel like the computers, as stupid as they are and the dumb decisions they made, it made me feel like I was somewhat interacting with people. And it kind of helped me. And I know now. I obviously know it's computers. They're dumb and they'll keep
but when
hitting
you're a
the
kid,
wall.
you have more imagination. You can describe things to them. Yeah.
And very few games nowadays make me feel the same.
Well, you're older. I would argue that that's probably an aspect of it.
Yeah, true. When I say most,
I think kids are much more in touch with their emotions.
Not a lot of games make me feel compelled and make me feel like things to my being. Yeah. So when I play a game and I feel engaged, I get lost in the game. Yeah. That provides a very good kind of experience for me, because not only does it offer as an escape, but it offers a point of self-reflection. Like
where you can think on yourself, right?
When I think on myself, what I'm doing, my viewpoints, and how they actually impact the world and other people.
It's like an alone time kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like people joke about shower thoughts. Yeah. It's kind of like
your shower thoughts are your gamer thoughts.
Yes, essentially.
Hashtag gamer thoughts.
And I could play Civilization 4 for hours just because what drives me to play it for particularly that is not particularly the gameplay. It is the
time you have to reflect.
The time that I have to reflect and think about, like when you put yourself in the mindset.
I have a game like that.
When you're putting yourself in the mindset that you're carrying after a whole bunch of people. Yeah. And when you keep in your mindset that you have that choices you make can impact other people, it puts you in a different kind of.
You relate that to the real world.
It makes you think about your actions, because in a game like Skyrim, you're focused on your goals and just the shit you can do, right? Yeah. But in a game like Civilization,
your goal is to build.
You're the leader of a nation. Yeah. And your choices.
It changes your thought process.
Your choices can mean the death of people, or the end to their suffering.
And so you would say you like kind of relate that, or that gives you a bigger picture to not just the game, but like you think more about the real world in that aspect as well.
It makes me. It puts my own existence and self into a better viewpoint. And it makes me realize a lot of faults about myself. Yeah. Like I realize, especially when I play like games like Saints Row 4 and GTA.
Oh God!
And GTA games.
I know what you're about to say.
You've seen this. Like those are like psychopath playgrounds. All right. To where.
Well, let's relax for a second, okay? People who play Saints Row and GTA are not psychos.
They're very. I'm not calling them psychos.
Yeah.
I'm saying that like when you play games like that, and you're put in a position where you can just fuck shit up. Yeah. You have the powers to absolutely cause mayhem and devastation.
You're scaring me a little.
With no consequence.
I'm just kidding. it makes it feel like you don't have a lot of thought in that, do you? Or do you? Is that what you're getting at?
For a while, you don't have a lot of thought about it, but once when you have time to reflect on it,
right,
it kind of hits you, you know. And some games do that well.
I would say I don't. I can understand an aspect of what you're talking about. I don't necessarily think when David chooses the chaos. I need to have you sit down. We need to do a stream, me and you, one-on-one, and I want to have you go through SMT5 on hard mode. I think that'd be fun.
All right,
watching you do it.
I'm down
one
for
of these
that.
days.
What I'm trying to say is that games offer reflection to whether it's.
I agree.
To whether it's in.
In some aspects, I agree. I don't think I think about when I go in Saints Row. Now, I don't do this. You do this. David has a lot of fun.
I have a lot of
in Saints Row 4, you can run up to somebody with your superpowers, and you can do like a special knockdown where you you crush somebody's fucking head in or something, as an example. David likes to sometimes play these games, and he'll do that for like an hour, just that, which is.
I'm the kind of.
I don't get reflection from that necessarily. I don't think maybe I shouldn't do this. What does it say about me for wanting to do this?
When I say reflection, I'm not saying I want to do these things in real life.
No, I know that's not. I'm saying when I see you do that, I don't think, wow, maybe I'm fucked up for wanting to do this. I don't think that way, and I also don't think like, what does this say about me? I'm just like, maybe this is probably just fun for a reason that maybe it's satisfying. Maybe it makes a cool noise when I do it. Maybe the animations are cool. That's what I'm more thinking about.
I'd say that for a game to have emotion towards me, it needs to make me think about my actions as myself, and for it to leave an impact on me, it needs to make me question what I'm thinking and try to drive me to be a better person.
As a relation to real life.
Okay. Now going and like I'll just throw this an example. When I played Saints Row 2, I would cut on the pedestrian war cheat just so everyone is absolutely
What's the pedestrian war?
Pedestrian war literally just makes everyone just fight each other. Cops are fighting each other. There's no real wanted level really.
Yeah, but that's just fun.
Everyone is just complete and utter insanity.
Right, that just sounds like fun.
I think it has to do with the high of control, because when you're just suddenly given a game, right?
Yes.
Where there is no moral consequences.
You just do whatever you want.
You do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, of course. You recognize it's not real.
It's not, of course. And I think games like that are fun because of that. Now, does that offer any real substance to me as a person? I mean, not really. I don't want to go door to door and beat people's heads in.
So the emotional.
I
hope not.
I don't want to do that.
So the emotional aspect comes from like, how does the game make you think about the choices that maybe you can make in the game? Is basically what you're saying. How do you relate? How you can relate that as well to real life is what you're kind of trying to get at here.
Yes, and how.
So we've covered emotion. What was the other thing? Good gameplay. What would be the third thing that it needs?
The third thing that a game needs in order for me to really consider it, like, a game that means something to me.
Well, I'm specifically saying what would
a favorite?
Make it be a runner-up for your potential favorite.
Favorite.
Yeah.
It needs to have really, really good story writing. Because when I was a kid, I loved reading books, and I would go and check out books that were like 2 or 3 grades higher than me, and just fucking read them. It's how I got into mythology when I was a younger kid. It's why I loved, I loved like the speeches of Martin Luther King.
Yeah, you're a writing guy. You like writing.
It's why history appealed to me.
Yeah, because
looking back on all the faults that my ancestors have made, it puts what is going on today in perspective, and it sets the ground base for my morals as a person.
So how would that relate in terms of what would a game need to do to fulfill or reach that kind of aspect? What you expect from it, I guess.
Narrative and storytelling.
Gotcha.
Now, some games can have dynamic storytelling, like RimWorld, for an example. RimWorld does not have a set story.
Sure.
The story evolves
but you can make
and
your own
changes
stories
on your gameplay.
Yeah.
And because you can make, because you're kind of put in this where the gameplay is great, but you have to make your own narrative. It draws you closer into what you're doing. It makes you go attached to those little characters who are running around. It makes you want to make sure, I don't want this person to starve to death. I don't want this person to get killed. I want to make sure I have these things. But in games like, I'm trying to think, what is my favorite narrative game of all time?
Ooh, I'm curious to know about this because you like some narratives.
My favorite narrative game of all time. I think the game that had if I have to pick a game that has the best kind of like narrative.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hard one.
It's a hard question to answer. I think that's why we both put it up here.
There's a lot of good games that have good narratives, but I feel
which one do you get the most out of? Well, first of all, list some of the contenders. Make 3 of the biggest contenders for your favorite like narrative, I would say. To help you like narrow it down a bit.
The biggest contenders for narrative.
Yeah, like games that you've played that have such a significant narrative like to you or an impact that have had an impact on you that you're like, okay, this could be like the best written game I've ever played.
Fuck, which one was it? It was Modern Warfare 2, I think.
Okay.
Specifically Modern Warfare 2. I think
Modern Warfare 2. I've never played that game story.
I might be confusing it with a different one.
Well, give a quick synopsis, I guess.
I believe it puts you in the direct front eyes of a soldier. Right? If I'm right, you're not just this like world-saving superhero. You're not like this chosen savior by the gods. You're an average person trying to make the best of what they can in a very fucked up situation. And I think Modern Warfare 2 is a game because Modern Warfare 2, I believe, had the remember no Russian thing.
Oh, where you enter the
where
enter the mall and kill everybody.
One of the most infamous scenes in gaming, and the narratives that come from it, just like I really like war narratives.
Do you think there's a reason for that?
Because, I mean, war is full of war is tragedy and heroics. I mean,
the age-old story is what you kind of like about it.
Wars are classical tales.
Yeah.
Of heroes trying to do the right thing, of people trying to make the most of a bad situation, of people trying to avenge a loved one. Of course, it's captivating because
it's easy to put yourself, or it's maybe it's not easy to put yourself in that situation and wonder what you would do. Maybe that's why it's so fun to think about.
You kind of get both. You kind of get the best of both worlds, because there's sometimes you think, okay, shit, what if this was me? What if I had suddenly had this thrust upon me?
Yeah.
And other times you're like, all right.
No, obviously I would do this shit.
It's kind of like the high that I got from reading a book translated over when I started playing games, because games with good, compelling stories.
We had a conversation a while back, I think, and I think what we ended up realizing is I was much more a fan of like gameplay, and you really like narratives in games. Yeah. Not that we don't like either. Like obviously, I want a good narrative, and you want a good gameplay experience. but I think the level of importance is different in both of us.
I think for me, video games are about having fun, but I feel
they
like
can be more than that.
I feel like video games are more than that. I feel like they're also about telling stories and conveying messages.
Yeah, it's art.
There are some life lessons that you can get from video games that can make you into better people. There's also stories of warning, like if you live. This is actually a plot for a story / character of mine of someone who is extremely reclusive to those around him, who withdraws himself, and because of that, he slowly realizes that his reclusiveness is the reason for his suffering and depression. And in order to make that change, he has to open himself up to other people and try to be there for people so they can be there for him.
Yeah.
And
so
to answer the question of what game I feel has the most impactful narrative to me,
Modern Warfare 2?
that is one of the contenders. Another contender for that.
Oh God!
Hey, you asked.
I did ask.
You asked.
There's none that you can think like. Because for me, if I were to choose best narrative, it would be what had me thinking after the game was already over, like the longest. What had me thinking about like those situations, the scenarios in the game. I guess that would be like my obvious pick for what had the best narrative.
You know what? This is a commonly used example.
That's fine, hey man.
It's commonly used example.
People
I'm
like
gonna say
Ocarina.
Undertale.
Yeah, there you go.
Undertale's narrative and how it handles its storytelling and gameplay, and the way it ties it together too. I think is a brilliant example.
Would you say that would be your favorite narrative in any game?
Actually, yeah, I would.
I helped you find it.
What?
I helped you find it.
Yeah.
Helped you narrow it down.
Good job. Thank you.
Just off-screen fist bump. So, now that we've covered all those three things that you need to have a contender for your favorite game, which one meets those things the best? Out of every game that you would say is potentially your favorite game, which one has the best, funnest gameplay? Which one has the most emotional impact on you? And which one has the best narrative? Not necessarily in general the best narrative, or not necessarily which one has the best of each thing, but which one has the best of each thing combined. Long pause.
I'm gonna say it.
Don't say it.
You're gonna disagree.
I'm gonna say it.
You're gonna disagree with me.
Don't do that on a live stream.
You're gonna disagree.
I'm not gonna disagree. It's your favorite game. Why would I disagree? This is an opinion-based thing.
Because it is a game that you personally do not like.
Say it. Doesn't mean I'm gonna disagree.
Fallout 3.
I wasn't expecting that.
Fallout 3. There's a lot of issues that I will point out with it, and I will agree with a lot of people on it.
I don't think Fallout 3 is a bad game, just for the record. I just think New Vegas is way better.
However, Fallout 3 was the very first video game that I finished to completion, vanilla, no mods. It was the first game that I really got captivated in. Because yes, the story, it was ended up being overwashed and reused. And I do like New Vegas for what it does. New Vegas, I'd say New Vegas has better world building, but I would say that Fallout 3's narrative really got to me the most. Because
fair enough. Why would you think I would disagree?
Because I think the biggest moment was that when it came to the very, very last thing, right? You know, like those kind of games that remind you to check your notes every now and then, right?
Yeah.
And when it came down to the last thing, where you wrap Project Purity, and you had to enter in the code, and you had, or otherwise everything be fucked. And you had like 10 seconds to come up with it.
Yeah.
That thing played, and I was like, fuck, I might as well do that, right?
Yeah.
And then it was something in your notes that reminded you of the quote your in-game father said to you at the beginning of the game. And when I put that code in and it worked, I was actually very impressed. I was not thinking of that code at all, because I was kind of in a panic mode. What do I press in? What's the button? Am I going to do the wrong thing? And then that happened, and from start to finish, searching for your father, going through all these things, you have no idea what's going on in the wasteland at all. And your action in that moment could mean everything. When you're captivated like that, and then that hits you, that's what it was, the thing at the very beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of blown away. I did not expect that. So, I didn't look anything up, and then I followed it with the DLC, Mothership Zeta. I went in there completely blind, not knowing anything, and I was kind of blown away because it took the entire atmosphere of the game and turned it on its head. I've never played Point and Lookout, and I didn't finish the Pit, which I might in the future go back and finish that, but that really hit me because it was the first game that I ever finised. I could never finish Kingdom Hearts. I could never finish
You didn't
Super Mario
beat Kingdom
Sunshine.
Hearts?
No, I can't beat the final. I can't get past Ansem.
Do you know how it ends?
I know how it ends, yes, but I can't beat it.
Oh,
I never personally experienced the beating, like the beating. I never beat.
It sounds like you
Mario
experienced
Sunshine.
the beating, just you didn't beat the ball.
Yeah, I never beat Super Mario Sunshine.
I understand that. I didn't beat it as a kid either. I had my brother do it.
I got to the
for me.
last level and I just kept failing, and I just never finished it. Oblivion was the second game that I ever finished.
So you would say Fallout 3 is your favorite game for those reasons?
Yeah, I would.
Interesting.
I would say because
I can honestly say that is not the answer I expected. I thought you were gonna reel it back to Oblivion.
Oblivion probably had to be second best then.
So you really would you say you're a big fan of Bethesda styled games?
I would, but because Fallout 3 also hit at the right time, because it was at a time period when, remember I was about the apartment?
Yeah.
It was around that time, just when it started happening. I was just starting, it was the summer between middle school and high school, and things were just starting to get going. I had moved to a whole new area, and for like almost a year I didn't even see you in person.
Yeah, well, because of different school stuff, right?
Yeah, and
was there at the right time.
I didn't expect it to have its, have the impact it did on me.
Welcome back, Goth.
Welcome back.
Yeah, that was not an answer I expected. I'm actually kind of glad you gave it, because I thought it was gonna be. I thought you were building all this up to just say Oblivion, which is what I already thought it was. So
I'd have to say Oblivion is a second runner. Oblivion also hit at the right time. I mean, there's a lot of games that have a lot of personal meaning towards me. But Fallout 3
and
Fallout 3 also got me captivated in its characters, and the characters kind of made me relate to what was going on around me.
I don't think 3's a bad game. I just think there's another game that exists that is way better than 3. In my personal,
it's okay.
It hits, differently for different people.
But
I would never disagree and be like, no, your game's shit.
I could say that New Vegas has better world building. It has better world building, and there's different kinds of locations to go to.
New Vegas is not my favorite game. Bethesda games, I enjoy them. They're fun. I don't think I'd ever go back and replay any of them without modding the fuck out of them, though.
What is your favorite game, then, considering you helped break down mine? What have you come to your conclusion?
Well,
if
David,
you break down the games that way.
I also don't know what the fuck my favorite game is. I'm gonna be totally real. It may seem obvious to you because I buy a lot of stuff for a specific game. I played a specific game for a very long time. But to me, that doesn't necessarily mean it's my favorite. Maybe it just means like something kept bringing me back. It's definitely one of my favorites. And that game we're talking about is Minions for the Nintendo. No, it's
no.
it's Persona 5. I love Persona 5. It's a great game. I don't know if I would say it's my favorite. It's got a lot of shit I like in it. I really like the characters, so I buy, some stuff related to it this way. I'm getting into that. Okay. So I think the way we differ the most in terms of like our gaming decisions, I really cannot play a boring game. I cannot play a boring game even if it has a really good narrative. If the gameplay is really boring, I can't sit through it. There's no point. I'd rather be watching like an anime or like a movie or something. That way I could, spend time doing something else and also watching it rather than have my hands on a controller and, being fully invested in it while also being bored. Not that your games sound boring. They sound fun for the most part. But gameplay is very, very, important to me. If it doesn't have, fun gameplay, I don't care. The funnest games I can think of are ones that you can replay over and over again. A lot of them happen to be, multiplayer stuff. I get a lot out of that. I'm a very competitive gamer.
That is, I can see.
I grew up playing first-person shooters. So eventually, I think the first-person shooter I really got invested in was TimeSplitter's Future Perfect. I talked about this on stream before. But that is probably my favorite shooter, maybe, I would say, other than TF2. TF2 is a really great game. It's got a lot of competitive aspects to it. I liked Overwatch for a while. That is definitely not my favorite game, though. There's a lot of shit I hated about Overwatch. Other than that, single player experiences, in recent years I've gone back to more of them, but overall in my entire gaming career, if you could say, has been spent playing mostly multiplayer stuff. I really enjoy the aspect of connecting with people over games. That's why you'll notice the way I set up my room for a while, and I still do. I used to have a desk specifically meant for when David brings his computer over so we could play games together. And that was just a thing in my room. It had no other purpose really other than that, other than, I put a CRT on it every once in a while for Melee. But I really, really value the multiplayer aspect of games. Doesn't mean I dislike single player stuff. I enjoy a lot of like I said, Persona 5 RPGs. In recent years, I've really turned towards really long games, sometimes with convoluted narratives. Turn-based stuff I used to hate. I think I like turn-based stuff. I think I was just incorrect in my assumption, because most of the turn-based stuff I saw, or you normally see in the media, is Pokemon stuff, which is not the best representation of that, as we have discussed. Yeah. What I look for in a game is pretty much, I think, the same things of what you look for, which is good gameplay. I think I'm gonna replace story with multiplayer. I think that's accurate for me, because a lot of my favorite games are stuff that's runner-ups for my favorite games don't even have a story. So I think that's a fair replacement. And then emotional attachment, I guess, is obviously one of them. I think the closest runner-ups, a lot of them are probably GameCube games. I think TimeSplitter's Future Perfect, Super Smash Bros. Melee, God, what else? What else was crazy big? Persona 5 is probably the most unique thing. I really like SMT5. I think that's a really great game. I don't know if I would say I like it more than Persona 5. It's hard for me to make that decision. I think the battle system's better. But I don't know, as a general overall package, if I would prefer that over Persona 5. And then what else? What games can you think of that me and you have played a lot together, or that I've played a lot with other people in the past? Team Fortress 2, obvious one.
What was it called?
What?
Nuclear Throne.
Nuclear Throne. Holy shit. Me and David, I think as a genre, I just really like roguelikes. They're really fun. There's so much on the line, especially when they're multiplayer. Like, oh my god.
I think that if there's any like genre that both you and me like multiplayer wise just go
tend to turn to,
I think more so than competitive games is like roguelikes.
Yeah,
like Risk
we
of
play
Rain
a lot
2.
of. Well, we play mostly 2 roguelikes together, but we've played a ton of them. A ton of it, like,
remember we used to set up side by side like Isaac, and we would see how crazy we can
yeah, we did Isaac. What was that mode called?
Basement
mode?
It was infinite rooms.
Yeah, roguelikes in general are super fun. I like games that have risk, like really big risk. One of my favorite games as well that I should probably put as a contender is Don't Starve. Specifically, Don't Starve like together, just because it has better like content and stuff, and you can play it with multiple people. Don't Starve is a great fucking game. It's awesome. I would say I even enjoy it more than Minecraft, for the most part. I would say Minecraft is better at appealing to everybody, but Don't Starve is great. It has a massive risk in that if you're dead, you're dead. You can't come back. Your world is gone. Everything you built is over, unless there's some shortcuts around that. There are items that can bring you back to life, but they're temporary, basically.
Why have we never tried hardcore Minecraft then?
I don't know. It'd probably be a lot of fun. Maybe that's something we put on the list to try. Hardcore Minecraft.
Huh.
I like games with risk, difficulty, not because I'm a toxic gamer who likes to gloat about how good I am. I am that. But also because I really enjoy challenge. I sometimes struggle with the fact of seeing the point in something if it's not like a challenge, which can lead to me making things a challenge that probably shouldn't be. David has first-hand experience of that. I think both of us sometimes have that issue.
Yes.
So with all those things being taken into place, my 5 big ones: Persona 5, which is probably the most unique out of each of the games I listed; Super Smash Bros. Melee; Time Splitters Future Perfect; Team Fortress 2. Fuck, what was the other one I said? Don't Starve Together. I think those are like the Furious 5.
If I had to build my like
that I've played.
If I had to play my top favorite games, Fallout 3, Oblivion, Civilization 4, Halo, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Super Mario Sunshine.
Not Minions for the Wii?
No, not Minions for the Wii.
Damn, dude.
Dude, I swore myself I would never pick up that game again. ever since I won the World Cup.
Ever since I won the World Cup in Minions for the Wii, I've retired. The belt must go to someone new. I can't win every tournament, Zach.
Look, man. look, Zach. People can't handle the level where I can speak fluent Minion. All right.
I think if I had to pick my favorite out of those 5, obviously it's really hard, but if I had to pick the one that meets the criteria for all of those things that I value so much in games, I would probably pick Team Fortress 2, probably.
You were going to say something different.
What do you think I was going to say?
Say it.
What?
Say what you're going to say.
What do you think I was going to say?
Say it.
What do you think?
I know what you're
Minions
gonna say.
for the Wii. You got me.
Yeah.
It's Minions for the Wii.
Come on, it's okay.
What? It's Minions for the Wii. You're right.
Oh, he meant to hear, folks.
You tricked it. I don't even know. Is there even a Minions game for the Wii?
I don't know.
Was Minions even around back then?
Look it up.
It's probably Team Fortress 2. David wants me to say Persona 5 so badly.
Because he was going to say it.
I like Persona 5 a lot.
He wants to say it.
The problem is it doesn't have enough. It doesn't have enough of like all the aspects I enjoy. I can't play Persona 5 with the second person. You can, but it's not a great experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Team Fortress 2 seems to have all of that. There's really good players that will just invade pubs and destroy you. That's some difficulty aspect to it. You can do some really wacky shit in TF2. If you have a friend together, something me and a friend, I almost said his name. Full name.
Right, like you said mine and doxed me.
Well, if you keep bringing it up, now people are going to think about it. Exactly.
Right, Mister.
You can say it. Zachary Dingus. You can...
right. Yeah, right. His last name is Dingus.
You caught me. I think TF2 has the most of everything. Something me and a friend used to do is there's a map called Harvest, which is the best map in the game, by the way. Don't at me. Or it was. I don't know what they've added recently because I haven't played in a while. There's a weapon in the game that's just basically a giant ham. It comes from Don't Starve, funny enough. It's like a promotional item. You could use a thing called the sticky bomb launcher that did no damage to you, but it would send you like flying with the demo man. There's a little room in Harvest that's like a sniper room that snipers would always go to. Like without fail, they would go to it. We would hide in a little corner and they would walk right past us to look out the window and we'd ham them every time. It was the funniest shit to us. I don't know why, but like there's so much shit you could do. You can like taunts will kill people in that game, so you could do a taunt in front of like a spawn room door and just kill a bunch of people as they walk out. It's just a lot of fun. Too bad I don't play it anymore.
Yeah.
Cuz it sucks now. Maybe I should specify like 2012 onward 2012 to 2014 TF2. That's my favorite game, and I'll never get it back.
You know what's funny? You know what game I didn't even really think of that I think is also really good. I don't think it's in my 5, but
what?
Catherine.
You like Catherine?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Okay. All right.
Catherine's a great game. But again, we did finish Catherine multiple times.
Yeah, but we didn't finish it. We didn't get the.
Okay, sorry. David's bar of completion is going through hours of the same game over and over again to get every single ending in the entirety of the game. Yeah, but I don't care about 100%ing Catherine. If the only benefit you get from doing all of the endings is seeing all of the endings that are cutscenes, just look them up on YouTube.
I'm about to spoil something for you.
Don't.
Let's spoil that big thing that surprised me.
If you get something to incentivize your next playthrough, like a good game does, like SMT 5 or Persona 5, then I'm more willing to like go through the game again and see other aspects of the game.
So if more games are like SMT and Persona 5.
Yeah, then I would like them.
So what you're telling me is...
If every game was Persona 5, I'd like it.
So what you're telling me is that your favorite game...
It's not. It actually isn't.
It's SMT.
No, it's not. My favorite game is probably TF2. If I had to actually give a legitimate answer to something that I could honestly see myself playing for the rest of my life if it was in that same state, it would probably be TF2 in that time period.
Fair enough.
Hit me with the General Sam mic talk. What, is it loud? Sorry. We're very close to our microphone.
Yeah, sorry.
We have to be, because I didn't buy a second preamp for the mic, so I had to turn the gain up. Otherwise, it would have been really quiet.
What else have you been talking about?
You have 2 last subjects if you want to hit them. They're both your subjects, so I'll let you initiate them if you'd like. Let's try and wrap these up a little quicker, because we've been going for 3 hours.
Let's save the last one for last.
Well, okay.
Yes, let's
talk about NASA.
Let's talk about NASA, SpaceX, and space.
This is David's topic. I am not well researched in this, so he's going to be leading this conversation a bit.
All right, and now keep in mind,
it's good their podcast.
I know, I know quite a bit. I don't know about the hypotheticals.
Oh, I can throw in some hypotheticals if you want. I've got some good ones.
And the theoretical plans for space. All right, but
I can inject some tiny aliens into your theory.
What I know of is what current plans are. And
okay.
One of them, interestingly enough, is that this decade there are several big things that a lot of companies are pushing for very hard.
Okay.
For one, SpaceX. Actually, no, let's backtrack. NASA wants to go back to the moon, have people on the moon, and start the beginning steps of lunar colonization by 2024. On 2024, we'll see we will see men and the first woman go back to the moon, then take those first steps, and ever since then, astronauts will recycle there, like for a period of like 6 months,
like in and out sort of thing.
Like the ISS for a while, slowly trying to like figure out, okay, what does the lunar environment do to the human body?
Okay.
And how can this aid in future colonization? SpaceX they're using SpaceX's Starship. That's the name of their colonization rocket, Starship, to take astronauts to the moon. And SpaceX plans to start Martian colonization by taking the first steps this decade. Because Elon is really pushing forward towards like the 2030s being when humans start going to Mars to live there.
How practical is that, do you think?
So
you think we're ready for that?
There are a lot of issues with it because we don't know. We've never had human beings go outside the full orbit of our... Sorry about the mic. I actually brushed against it.
He has his own now. Now he's got to deal with my issues.
Go outside the orbit of like way past the orbit of the moon. Because there's something I believe it's called the Van Allen belt, which
no man's land, basically.
It's that which we don't really know how radiation, in particular, will affect the human body, and it's really, we have good theories on how it will affect the human body.
We just don't actually know.
But we won't really know until we send people there. And one of the missions for Artemis, before they even land people on the moon,
by the moon's
is
grace,
taking people past like way past like the Lagrange 2 point, which is where the James Webb telescope is currently going to be positioned in. That's another thing I want to get to. Now that will provide data on exactly how that could affect us, and it will be the farthest that humans have really ever gone, according to my knowledge. And if that's successful, then SpaceX's first plan is to first send a whole bunch of drones to start building like the groundwork, like placing down solar panels, smashing up Martian, like the dirt, into a
smashing up Martians with mallets,
a flat thing for other ships to land on. They'll also put the the whole Starlink stuff that they're doing with the Starlink satellites. SpaceX has gotten into the satellite business and are now offering a very good 5G internet service.
5G from space, sign me up.
For very cheap too, I think. I don't know their prices, but that's going to be the internet for Mars. There's going to be
that's cool.
There's going to be
we already got internet up there before anything else.
Yeah, there's
the most important thing.
There's going to be 3 satellites that will orbit Mars around the area that we're going to that the first colony is going to be going towards.
Hang on, I just accidentally lowered my chair, and now I have to raise it.
And
okay, we're good.
After we get the drones there, the first astronauts will step foot on Mars. Now, whether NASA or SpaceX will be the first ones to do that, we don't know. But once when that happens, and we actually have the beginnings of a Martian presence on Mars, it will be a human presence on Mars. It will be about first living there, testing. So the first astronauts will slowly build on to like the first parts of the colony base. Right. They'll start growing food, like food. So when the next astronauts come, they'll eat the first food grown on Mars. Right. And once when we get that happening, the plan is to keep it growing, and to start harvesting like water, because the site that they're choosing is near where it's believed to be is the reservoir of water. Once when we can convert Martian water to drinking water, and we can make like dirt, like a dirt hybrid kind of thing for plants to grow in, then Mars can start to get on the path to be self-sustaining. Now, eventually, the plan is to start sending like hundreds of thousands of people to Mars, and then Elon Musk wants to get this. He wants to have a price range to where it's almost like a little more expensive than buying a house. Like it's a lot.
What, just for the trip to live there, or
to live there?
For the cover living?
You would probably get paid for that, because the compensation for that's a very dangerous trip.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you'd be sad if you went there, but you need money to kind of like, say, hey, I'm doing this.
Do you want to live on Mars? Would you be interested?
I would actually think that'd be a very cool thing, because it'd be partaking in a very critical part of our history.
Let's say we're way past the point where it's this new big like part of history. Let's say you're in a new generation.
Okay.
And you have an option now to live on Mars or Earth. This is a bit of a dumb question, but I'm just curious. But you know that, like, you're born on Earth. Most people, they have an option. Do you want to live on Mars? Do you want to live on Earth? You can never tell what that's going to look like. But do you think, like...
I would eventually... I would want to partake
Think about travel. How different would culture be?
Well, for one, think about it this way. The starships will start bringing people from different countries around the entire world. There'll be different cultures entirely, and they'll kind of intermingle and merge.
How will that
meaning
how will that affect, like, say somebody gets upset? What if somebody wants to claim Mars? Who does Mars belong to at that point? Just the Martians?
Eventually Martians, yeah. Eventually there will be.
How do you set
point.
that up? Like, without violence and all this chaos?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very hard to see that far in the future. What I'm
talking about I'm not asking you to give me the answers. I'm just curious what you think.
I think it will. If more than likely, it will more than likely be like a Mars Earth war. That's like, because human history has shown that when people just look at the United States and Britain. That's all I really have to say.
Well, radioactive red desert, fun low. The people that claim Mars will have a bigger weapons or most money.
That is true because of mining. Mining and the
the
production of
fuel. I didn't think about that.
Because you can break down water, the components of water, into to create rocket fuel. That's one reason why the moon is a resource treasure trove, because we can use the ice on the moon to make rocket fuel. And that would...
So Mars would just be a massive fuel industry, or like mining industry.
It could be, yes. Mars is closer to the asteroid belt. And the asteroid belt is full of resources. Yeah. And
Dang.
And I would want to go to Mars to try to take part in that part of human history.
Yeah.
Eventually, personally, if I really had to choose, if I would rather choose on what kind of thing I want to live on, I want to live on a ring world. Kind of like a ring. The rings in Halo. That's an actual sci-fi concept of something we could plausibly build. Not the super weapon part where it destroys all life in the galaxy, but the fact that it's a ring that has continents on it and water.
Yeah.
I would like to live on one of those, because this is looking up and seeing a beautiful giant ring in the sky every day. That sounds perfect.
Chef's kiss.
And I mean, like,
what disadvantages would that would be there though? Because
if I'm right, hurricanes would spin sideways.
That's terrifying.
Rather than spinning like this, hurricanes would spin sideways.
That's fucking terrifying.
I might be wrong about that, but I think that's happening on Rings World.
That's a big downside. I don't know.
But I mean, it's not that bad. I mean,
Wouldn't you live
you
on?
Could have weather control systems.
How big would the ring? Is the ring like one continuous thing, or is it multiple? Like, would you jump from like place to place pretty often?
There's different ways we could go about it.
We
could have one kind of like, we could have one giant ring. Or we could have kind of like several rings that are kind of orbiting around each other.
What is the atmosphere like on a ring? Is it just Earth? Like an
It'd
Earth?
be like Earth, yes.
Texture
yes.
or whatever? Oh. Continuously or just
yes.
a bunch of little rocks?
It'd be
like, I thought that's what rings were.
No, it can be just like Earth.
Oh.
It's a mega structure.
Well,
it's kind
cool
of
then.
It's kind of like a space station. Space stations are awesome that I want to live in just because I would want to explore planets.
Yeah.
Because I want to see what naturally occurs in nature. But, space stations, you can make it however you want.
Yeah.
And I know personally, my brother, he loves the concept of space stations. And I agree, they're very cool.
Yeah.
And I think far future, if I live long enough to ever even see a ring world constructed, I want to live on a ring world. Either that or an Alderson disk. And Alderson discs are very, very interesting, but they're like ring worlds on crack. Essentially, what you do with an Alderson disc, you make a huge like flat disc, and it surrounds the entirety of like a solar system around the sun. The innermost part will be hot, it'll be uninhabitable, and the farthest part will be frozen cold.
You'd have to live in the center.
But in the center, where it's on the habitable zone, you'll have a perfectly habitable environment, and you'll have a whole crap ton of land to work with, like the most land you could really even dream of. And I don't know. I am interested in seeing how this is gonna go, because not only are we gonna see that Blue Origin, which is another kind of like space company.
Yeah.
And in cooperation with several of the companies, including Boeing, which they produce the airplanes and all.
Mm-hmm.
Their Blue Origin is saying that there will be a commercialized space station in orbit around Earth by the end of this decade. Which,
as in, you can just go up there and hang out?
As in, like,
or live there.
It would be like, you could become a company could probably use as a hotel.
Oh.
Like imagine like hotels or like
you can take a vacation on the moon.
Research stuff. That would be an orbit around Earth. You would literally just like if you
take a vacation in space.
Yeah, you look out your window and see Earth.
It would just be the only thing you can do is hang out in the station.
That's
all some people would want.
Depending on how you build it, like Starship, the journey to Mars will be 6 months long.
Yeah.
So you'll be in space for 6 months. You'll have, from what I understand, you'll have your own personal like living space.
Mm-hmm.
With the design that I saw, it's small. It's small because you got to think about the conservation of space.
Yeah.
For travel. So you'll have a room like a chair that can slide up to sit up in, and have like a computer to work or to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it can also lean back into like a bed. And there'll be ways to communicate with other people on the station. There'll be exercise gyms on it.
A pool? Can I have a pool?
I don't know about a pool. Maybe.
Can I do some swimming in space?
That's water weighs a lot.
Yeah.
And that thing can carry 100 tons. And 100 tons sounds a lot. But 100 tons is like 20 of your dad's trucks. Which, there's gonna be a lot of starships needed to carry shit there.
Yeah.
And what'll happen is like, let's say this is the main one, right?
Yeah.
You'll have 2 of these connected to the center one once they actually get in orbit, and they'll start rotating. He's
using objects found on my desk to present his point.
What the rotating will do is it will kind of simulate Earth gravity. It won't get out of true Earth gravity.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm right, it might get like lunar gravity.
Yeah.
But in the future, when we build space stations, you can have a space station just rotate like kind of spin.
Yeah.
And the spinning will provide the gravitational effect you would need. There you can also use acceleration for ships, like. So I would love to see Star Wars adapt this, because there's a sci-fi series called The Expanse.
Mm-hmm.
That
girl is now in Fortnite or whatever that was. Oh, she's a Telltale game character.
Yep. Where you would build your ships. The walls would be your floors, and that would be the floor. This would be like the ceiling, because the acceleration would provide the gravity you would need to walk normally on it. And I mean, I like to see Star Wars do that, because this is just imagine the chaos that happened when a ship stops.
Star Wars
and all those clones and droids are floating around, and the Jedi have to fight in 0G.
Star Wars is fantastic at presenting real life scenarios that would actually happen in space.
You know what's sad?
What?
I genuinely wish that space battles could be like Star Wars. But the sad reality is,
You're telling me space battles aren't exactly like Star Wars? Are you kidding me?
Imagine, you know the dogfights in Star Wars.
No, what?
The dogfights between fighters.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but with a whole bunch of huge, frigates, just large ships fighting in dogfights.
Yeah.
I
don't want to fight in space.
I would love...
Unless you give me a lightsaber, then I'll fight in space.
Yeah, fighting in space is a nightmare.
If I had a lightsaber, it'd be cool, though.
Yeah. I want to do something with space.
Uh-huh.
Just because when I was a kid, man, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be the first man on Mars.
How does it feel that you'll never do that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you.
Well, I mean, just like my dream to become president of the United States is never gonna happen.
You don't know that. You're young enough for that to happen. You're young enough to be the first person on Mars if you really try. You just have to go to school for years and learn how to do everything an astronaut does for years.
The people who are already lined up. People are already lined up for that mission. There's no way I could even get on the consideration for
Man,
that.
This guy has no enthusiasm for his future. No, I'm just kidding. More realistic than Mars, always 10 years away. Got him.
Shut the hell up. Yeah.
Just kidding. You want to move on to the final topic? I need to put a disclaimer, okay? Which is kind of going to blame you here.
I wanted to talk about this.
This was David's deciding topic. It kind of relates to some things we talked to earlier about. We hit a little bit on cancel culture stuff.
Skydoesminecraft.
David wants to talk about Skydoesminecraft. I just want a disclaimer. I don't really care what's going on. Well, I care, but
yeah, you gotta,
it's not something I kept up with a whole lot. I watched a video to prepare for this, one singular video, and I read a little bit of David, Lord of Chaos. Bob. Exactly. What's going on? Hey, what's up, Honk? We're doing a podcast, and we're about to talk. David is going to inform me about Skydoesminecraft.
We're going to discuss that because you also watched the video.
I watched half of the video, and I got a general gist of some of the things he did.
Then you know half of the content.
The allegations, I should say.
So...
we should explain. There are some things that are being said about Skydoesminecraft, or what's his real name? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't care his real name.
The guy behind it. I don't know. Does David have a Twitch for me to check out? He will in the future. He currently does not. Do you know what name you want to put your Twitch under? Just you want to put it in people's memory banks?
I do not.
He'll have a Twitch in the future, and he'll be on here eventually to shout it out. So, he just doesn't currently. When he doesn't give it to me, gotcha. I'll hit you up, buddy. I'll probably have it in my about section. He'll probably be we'll stream together pretty frequently, probably. What were we talking about? Skydoesminecraft. He did some things. There are apparently some allegations about him and his old. What is it? His old girlfriend, his old wife. They had a kid together. Fuck, I don't know. What were they? He has 2 kids. Did you know that? I didn't even know he has 2 kids.
Yeah, until that stuff happened, I did not know about that.
Yeah, he's got kids apparently. Do you want to go over some of the things he's done? Because this is what you wanted to talk about. Just throwing it out there.
All right.
Look, I'm not trying to pin it on you. Okay, you know, I just don't know how to set this up. Like how Showhippies doesn't have a space. Yeah, that was the point. The original channel is we wanted to for whatever reason, for branding reasons, not to have a space. I don't know why.
Yes,
It looks like Showhippies.
Showhippies.
We might not even keep the name of the podcast that. This is very much under construction. So it's a temp thing. I wanted to get some art made, but I couldn't have it done in time or find somebody to do what I exactly wanted. So this is just sort of a temporary thing. What do you want to say? Read it as Showhippies? Yeah. That's us.
I have read some of the police reports.
Well, did you watch this creator as a kid? I guess I'm more curious. What made you decide to bring this up specifically? Is it something you just saw on YouTube?
I brought it up because Minecraft used to be a pretty big part of our lives, right? And you know, Skydoesminecraft was in like the heyday of YouTube, and was one of the content creators that pushed Minecraft over to the front window.
Did you ever watch him? Because I never saw like anything he did, pretty much. Not gonna lie, I have this one meme in my head. 2 friends in a room, they might kiss. Pucker update, no.
Listen, you motherfucker.
So did you see it on YouTube or what? Did you watch him at all?
I watched a couple of videos when I was a kid.
Were you a fan, would you say, or?
I'm gonna be honest.
No.
No.
What made you compelled to talk about this compared to anybody else's cancellation that happens in any other world?
Because, you know, Skydoesminecraft is, you know...
Right, he's a big YouTuber.
Yeah, he's a big YouTuber. And, you know, he just... He impacted a lot of people that probably we knew back in the day.
Sure. I guess I was just curious what his relation was to you, because I think both of us... never watched his stuff. I forgot he existed for quite some time, and now I'm hearing he did some fucked up shit. So,
I mean, look, man,
what specifically did he do? We should probably go over. You name some things. From allegations, we should say.
From what I can remember, because now I'm kind of like tensing up at this part.
Why are you tensing?
I don't know.
You don't know what you can say on Twitch, do you?
I don't really know what I'm allowed to really discuss about this certain situation.
Nothing I heard from the video sounded like something you couldn't discuss. Just careful how you phrase it, I guess. Don't bust out some words you shouldn't say.
The abuse of his girlfriend?
Yeah, that's fine. We can talk about that. It's a subject that, you know, can be discussed.
Is the money laundering?
Money laundering? Okay, but explain how he did these things. We can't just be like, he allegedly did these things.
I mean, real I forgot.
God damn it.
I forgot.
I knew this is why I wanted to be like, listen, we need to be careful how we approach this, because I don't think either of us did like enough research or like heard enough about this to put this as a topic. But David was like, I want to talk about it.
I wanted to discuss this because I feel like it had some implications. All right.
Okay, continue. But what do you have to say about it? If it wasn't clear, take everything we're going to say with a grain of salt. Do not use what we discussed on whether or not you should trust Skydoesminecraft or whoever the fuck he is now. If the allegations
are true, then he is a fucked up guy.
Well, what are the allegations? You haven't gone through all of them.
For one, I know the biggest thing that I know.
He laundered money. Here's what I got from the video. He abused his girlfriend, I think, or in some, I don't know physically. These are all allegations.
The police report.
Something about him saying he was gonna go to his girlfriend's house and kill him or something. I don't know. That's what the video implied, or the police report implied. I'm sorry. And then apparently he smeared blood on his walls. He would make himself bleed and smear. He just sounds like the video made him sound like a psycho. And I don't know what the fuck. I'm just so confused. I saw this topic in the Discord, and I was gonna say something and be like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" But you seem determined.
All right. Oh, I'm bringing up the police report right here. All right,
Oh, he's got the reports. He has the receipts.
The receipts.
That's why I put. It's funny because if you see this topic on our topics board, I put 2 question marks at each end to be like, what the fuck? I haven't heard of Skydoesminecraft since I was like 3. Yeah, I like forgot this guy existed. Apparently this is a recent thing though, right? This isn't from like 2 months ago.
No.
Oh fuck, I didn't even check.
No, this is like a recent thing.
This is a recent thing? Okay.
This is like a this month kind of thing.
Okay. Can I spill some cool drama / gossip? Can I spill the tea? You can spill whatever you'd like as long as you're not charging it in a racial way or doing anything that will get Twitch mad at me. All right, you want to read the report?
Yeah, I'm gonna read an excerpt from the report.
He's reading an excerpt. Here we go. The receipts.
Based on the actions and threats made by Adam, that's his name apparently.
Okay.
It is believed that he is a threat to others. He therefore meets the criteria for by the Washington State Involuntary Treatment Act. I informed Dahlberg that he was in protective custody and be taken to whatever hospital.
Who the fuck is Dalbert?
I don't know.
Continue. Continue.
Sorry, I was reading the thing.
Oh, I see.
He was not happy about this, and he became verbal with us. I placed him to a compliant stance. All right, hold on, hold on. Now, this is what the police.
He has dyslexia, just like me.
This is what the police are saying. Hold on a second. Here we go. On the 15th of February, 2021, at 11:06, I was on routine patrol in my marked patrol vehicle and department issued uniform operating as call sign 182. I received a report of a mental emotional subject said to be destroying his house and making threats. This was occurring. This is blacked out. The caller, that was blacked out too, stated that her son, Adam Dahlberg, lives in the home with roommates, and his girlfriend, Elizabeth, her last name's been blurted out. Upon arrival, of course, the officer and I contacted someone, and shortly thereafter, Adam. Fuck, hold on. We're having technical issues.
Oh Jesus.
Adam, I spoke with, who said that Adam had been recently discharged from a hospital.
Okay. No, keep going. We'll get to that in a second.
Was discharged from a hospital within a weeks of time. For about the last 36 hours, he has not slept and has been making paranoid statements, and came home he would kill them.
Whoops.
He did not mention any means to how he would do it, nor had he said it specifically to any of his roommates. She added about 30 minutes prior to police arrival, Adam had slashed his roommate's mattress with a knife. I asked to see the mattress and observed a gash about 12 inches long that had been sliced through the sheet, mattress cover, and mattress pad. I asked if she felt safe in the home of Adam. She stated that she did not, referencing his paranoid talk.
Oh, so he's actually in... Wait. This is what the police officer said?
Yes, it's a report filed by the officer himself.
Oh, maybe he is like a psycho. I mean, I never thought he wasn't, but... maybe there's just like straight up evidence that he is a psycho.
Referencing his paranoid talk about he was going to kill his roommates, throwing items all over the house, and that he slashed the mattress. I asked her if she takes any medication. She stated that he has prescribed medications but refuses to take them. The home was in disarray, which confirmed was Adam's doing.
David.
Along with household items. Yes.
I don't think Now, hear me out. This might sound crazy.
Yes.
I don't think either of us are competent enough or should be talking about this.
Look, man, I'm just reading the police report.
Right.
I'm just the messenger here, all right? Don't shoot the messenger.
I think... Listen, I haven't heard of Skydoesminecraft or whatever the fuck his real name is in years, okay? I forgot he existed. I don't keep up with like YouTube drama all that much. Apparently he did some fucked up shit. If you want to hear about it, there are YouTube videos. There are plenty of them. There's a police report the girl made. You can look up all this shit. We're probably not the best people to get this information from, which is why I was a little iffy on the subject. But yeah, do your own research. We'll end that there. So, with that, this is probably a good place to end it. We have been going for almost 4 hours. I think this is a good place to end it. Probably should have done it a while ago. But I think we covered all our topics pretty well. Other than the Skydoesminecraft one. we'll put that one to rest. Maybe we'll pick it up later sometime if we learn anything else. Probably not. Don't expect it. Thank you all for watching. I think what I'm going to do now is we're going to end the stream, do some audio stuff because we are working with a slightly different audio setup, and then we will be back in a little bit, maybe like 15, 25, 30 minutes, something like that, with some games, and we're going to do some game night, and we're going to have some fun.